I'm gonna be slow tonight. Well, it says we're on. Let's see. Yeah, I hear something.
How you doing?
Let's see here. I sure hope tonight the streaming gods are with us. Oh, there we go. John Miller's in. The real Steve Smith got a haircut.
This is my normal haircut. I just normally have a hat on.
Oh, right.
I do it myself with one of those sheep shears.
Yeah.
Mechanical or electric?
It's actually like this little miniature reel mower that I push across,
Oh, yeah, okay. I used to have one of those. Yeah.
like having Zoysia. Hey, quick question. I was going to ask at the end of your stream last night, but you went too quick, Sparky. Where do you put your tip weight box?
Out as far as you can get it.
Well, in terms of, do you want it, in line with your CG? Do you want it in line with the bell crank pivot, or you know what I mean in terms of leading edge to trailing edge?
How I do it is I project my plotted lead out location. It's just, where you think they're going to be.
Yeah.
And I take a straight edge and I go right through the pivot point of the bell crank out to the wingtip and get it as far out as you can. More than likely, it'll be as far forward as you can get it.
Okay. Caffeine and I stayed on here till almost midnight last time. Everybody else went to bed at about 10.
Yeah.
No, I was one of them who went to bed.
Yeah. Who was saying that these McDaniel Nye starters don't fit on Enya glow plugs? I thought I heard somebody say that.
They
It
don't.
It was on the forum.
Here's an Enya number 3 plug in this engine right here. Here's my McDaniel Nye starter locked onto it.
Well, here's a glow plug that it won't fit on right there.
I can't.
Get over there.
What make is that?
It's Enya.
I mean,
Oh,
Down a little bit. Down. Yeah, it's pretty close to mine, but it won't fit on mine.
yeah, this is an Enya number 3. I wonder if all these Enyas I have from back in the helicopter days, I wonder if they changed something. And this is pretty old too. I wonder if they changed these.
Hard telling.
But
just count yourself lucky, Steve.
well, I don't even use this actually. I have a big box with a battery that lasts way longer.
Yeah. I'm polishing up my diesels.
This is what I use.
Oh, yeah.
It's got like a 2000 milliamp battery in it.
Well, like I said, I'm polishing up my diesels.
Never owned one of those, but I had a friend who had a few that I played with. They were
Sure
from
gets-
some company called PAW, I think.
Yeah, that's Precision Aero Works in England,
Okay.
one of the major manufacturers of modern diesel engines.
Are they still around?
Oh, yeah.
They're probably one of the only people making them, I guess, huh?
No, no, they're made in various countries, um, because a lot of people have trouble. They can get kerosene and they can get 70 weight oil and they can get ether, but they can't get nitro and they can't get, the things to make glow fuel. So they run a lot of diesel. I know, what's his name, in New Zealand. He and his boys, they fly a lot of diesel just because they have them and it's easy to, you can go down buy a gallon of diesel fuel for your car, $4 or $5 in a bottle, and mix up some oil, proper oil in it. Get a can of starter fluid and dump that in there, and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
So your fuel probably $10 or less.
But you don't get to sniff clots fumes anymore.
No, and you get to smell funny, and people push you over to the other side of the field and won't hobnob with you because you smell so bad.
Model diesel fuel doesn't really smell like.
Oh, yes, it does.
Does it smell just like normal diesel fuel?
No, it just stinks.
That's what I meant. I was going to say it doesn't smell like a regular diesel engine, from what I remember.
It has a unique odor of its own.
Nice.
But they do run when you learn how to run them. They do run and they run well.
Do you have to monkey with the contra piston every time you start it? Or is
Not
that
every
a
time.
set and leave kind of thing?
Not every time. You can start up. You won't, as I remember, and I may be wrong on this. I started up and let it warm up a little bit, and then see if I could, peak it up. Because you don't want it to go off compression while you're in the air, because then it runs like beep, 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 as it goes around, and you don't want that because you're not making power. So you play with it, but you learn after a while just exactly what you do. If you're flying back-to-back flights, you usually don't have to mess with the contra piston too much. If you take a flight and 3 hours later you take a flight and it's cooled down and everything, you might have to, mess with the compression a bit, but you'll probably wind up close to back where you were set before. Now they make a kerosene that they used to make for kerosene lanterns, and it had a perfume or something in it, made it smell like flowers. Because people didn't want to be burning kerosene lanterns in their home and have it smell like diesel. So they put that in there. Now I've been trying to find some of that. Either that or somebody told me you can buy just the fragrance. It takes 1 or 2 drops of it, in a quart of fuel. So
Somebody used to make some kind of fragrance you could put in model fuel to make it smell like
cheeseburgers.
grape, or I don't remember cheeseburger. I didn't mess with it. I just remember somebody bringing it out to the racetrack one time. This was when I was doing RC car racing, and a few messed with it.
We can't find that guy now because be nice to experiment with it in diesel fuel.
Oh yeah.
I've got a 35 size diesel, and that thing is heavier than a most 60s. But I guess it puts out a lot of power. It's big. Jeez, it's big. But I ran a pressurized twister on a Davis diesel conversion of a KMB 28 Sportster. All it took the head, and then he supplied me with a better rod because of the extra pressure.
Uh-huh.
And that thing ran like a top.
What did he do to make the rod better?
It was a different rod. It was
Just
made it better
heavier
material.
duty, or
Huh?
heavier duty, or
A little bit heavier duty, and I don't know, it might have been a different alloy, But the Sportster's kind of they use the aluminum in there as their bearing material.
well, there's no bronze bushing in the end of the rod.
I don't remember for sure. I don't think there is though.
Okay.
So, you run a lot more compression with it as a diesel, so you can break a rod real easily.
Has anybody ever made a stunt engine that has needle bearings down on either the bottom end of the rod or on the wrist pin and rod connection that you know of?
I've heard of it. I can't tell you which ones they were, but I've heard of it. And there's custom engine builders like Lori Malila. I think that's how he's
I know
out
who
of,
you mean. I don't think I could pronounce his name, but I've seen
yeah.
pictures of his.
But he builds his own engines,
Huh.
And so, and there's a fellow that Marcel Laurent introduced me to, and he's a genius at making small engines. Oh man, they're just beautiful. So
I think the machining is the easy part. They got to learn. You got to be really good at like heat treating and stuff to do that kind of.
yeah, but you're machining in pretty close tolerances, when you're dealing with those, like a V12, okay? A V12 that's only that long, it's like 12,049 cylinders, and they've got
Somebody made that a radial engine out of 049s. I remember in the Clarence
they,
Lee review or something years ago.
they did a radial engine out of KMB 20s.
Oh, that'd be cool.
The difference was uh, because there were two strokes, that you had to have an even number of cylinders, whereas a four-stroke, you have to have an odd number of cylinders.
I imagine, didn't they just gear them together effectively? They still each had their own crankcase for pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They built a big, if I remember correctly, a big housing. They had the master crank and all that in there, and then they put the stock cylinders in place, stock pistons and rods. If you think about it, the two-stroke radial, you gotta have a way to get the pressure on the downstroke to pump the fuel up.
Yeah.
So it's more than I can do.
Well, if that was your specialty, I'm sure the guy who made that probably couldn't design airplanes. So there.
Some people say I can't.
What I was going to ask, but you left last week. You said you were gigging. What do you play, or what kind of band are you in?
I play with a group called the Old Time Fiddlers, and the Old Time Fiddlers is a nationwide group. We have chapters all over the country, and we specialize in old time fiddle type, old time music, Appalachia, country music. You even do some
So
Elvis.
you play the violin, I guess is what.
No, I play the harmonica.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My problem is I used to play the mandolin,
Okay.
but when I got injured, these fingers don't work that good anymore, and so I can't play that, and I couldn't play a valved instrument. I was about the only other instrument I could think of I might be able to play was a trombone. I tried that and I didn't like it, and so turned out that I had learned how to play the harmonica when I was in the Navy.
Hmm.
You sit out on the fantail of the ship late at night and just play every song I could remember. We played it from memory, and a couple
Can you
guys.
sing at the same time?
Pardon?
Can you
No,
sing?
no. I know people that can do vocals while they're playing.
That's how.
They're very abbreviated,
Okay.
but they can do it. They get a word or something in there, while the synchronization is so close. I don't think it's that impressive, but some people do,
To the layperson like me, it is. You're like, how could you do two things with your mouth at the same time?
Yeah. What I generally do is if I've got to sing, I'll start off with the instrumental at the beginning. And then fortunately, I've got a banjo and two or three guitars and a fiddle or two and a bass backing me up. So I'll start off with the introduction, and then I'll go into the song portion. If I'm singing it, I'll stop playing and I'll sing it, going on what they're doing, using them to keep me on tune. And then somewhere in there, I might go back to the vocal and end up ending it with not vocal, I mean the musical portion of it, and then end it on that. You know, I've had to learn how to synchronize what I play to what people are singing, though. I don't want to overpower them with the harmonica, because you can do that. I don't. Everybody else has got a mic or is got electric pickup on their instrument or something, but I don't have that, and they still are complaining about me overpowering them sometimes. So,
Yeah,
Did
but
you-
does it fly?
pardon?
Yeah, but does it fly? Let's talk about model airplane.
It flies if I throw it hard enough. Anyway, well, I was just answering a question there, Robert.
So you're committed? No spray shine on this one?
Yeah, I'm just gonna do many coats of dope.
Get that nice, soft, warm, special looking finish.
We're about 3 coats of clear in right now. I'll sand it tonight, and tomorrow I'll put another 3 on it and sand it again.
Gonna have to practice more to make up for those extra points you might lose from the appearance guys.
Yeah. Hey, Andy.
Hey, Sparky. The Carumba's looking great.
Thank you.
Ay, caramba.
Hi, Carumba. Yeah, I've been enjoying watching your build.
That's a fancy trick. How did you have that background set up like that?
Oh,
Oh, there's
Either that or you got an 80-inch wingspan control line airplane there.
There's a feature on Zoom that you can
Oh,
change the background.
okay.
Yeah, there's a little setting down below that says more. And I think it's there. Or no, it's over. It's on the video, the up arrow in the video. It says choose background, virtual background.
Adjust background and effects.
Choose virtual background. That's the one.
I see it now.
arrow on the video.
That's how I noticed a few guys had it blurred out behind themselves. I guess that's how they did it here.
Yeah.
Like I just did. Look at that. You already taught me something, Andy. I feel fancy now. Thank you.
Well, you know what? I was on a Zoom call yesterday with some of my team, and the girls in there were showing me how you can filter so that your wrinkles go away.
That's cheating.
Yeah, that's totally cheap, but they look fantastic.
I can only imagine some of the bait and switch that goes on nowadays when you meet somebody online.
Probably so. Well, I've got some questions for you guys on my flight streak. If you have a minute.
Go ahead.
All right, so I've been rehabbing this flight streak, and when I first tried flying it, I got it from a fellow down in San Clemente, California, and it had solid piano wire lead outs that were pretty sticky, but I went ahead and flew it, and I made sure the CG was basically where they said on the plans, which is on the spar. And I was lucky to get the plane down. It was tail heavy. So I took the weight out of the tail, and now the CG is in front of the spar. But I guess my question really is, how do you know if the CG is not like right on the plans, or however this plane was built, it's not right per the plans. how do you kind of dial in where I guess I'm thinking by flying, you can just fly it and see how do you know if it's nose heavy? What's the action? It's just going to be sluggish on loops and things, or what?
Yeah,
Oh,
you can't get it to turn if it's too nose heavy. But if
okay.
it's too tail heavy, you got a problem.
Oh yeah, I know about that. I've had
I'll tell you what I do. It
okay.
works for me. Now that you take it at your own risk because, but when you're doing a loop,
Mhm.
if you can do a loop without it, crashing it, do it when you do a loop. If the loop wants to tighten up as you're going around,
Mhm.
you're holding the handle steady, but it wants to tighten up. Okay, what's happening there? It's tail heavy. It's throwing the tail out in a loop,
Yeah.
making it tighten up. And the opposite is true if you're going in a loop and it tries to get bigger,
Yeah.
nose heavy. It's throwing the nose out.
Mhm.
So that's a dead giveaway of which way you want to go and fine tuning it. But I use a loop to find that out.
Okay. Good. Well, I know how much weight it had on it when it was just on the edge of being too tail heavy. So I'll probably bring some weights with me, about half of that, and try it. I'll try it just as it is and see what happens. And then add some weight as I need.
Yeah, there's a couple of rules of thumbs you can apply, well, to trim it, to table trim it before you take it out. One of them is, these are Ted Fancher gave them to me. You're dealing with a flight streak, you're dealing with a non-flapped airplane. So in the beginning, it's probably not going to want to be any further back than 20 to 22% maximum to the rear of,
Okay.
of the base or the mean aerodynamic chord. And you got to pick, that little stationary flap that's there that's tapered.
Mhm.
You have to figure that in. So the easiest way, quickest way is just go halfway out on the span of your wing, measure it.
Yeah.
That's pretty close enough.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you say that's 10 inches just to make it so I can do it in my head.
Mhm.
And you want, say, 20%. Well, 20% of 10 inches is what? 8,
2 inches.
2 inches, yeah.
2 inches. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so now you can, at the root, right up next to your fuselage, you can go back 10 inches back, and that would be your 20% line. All right.
Okay.
Now, if you get much past 17% forward, you're starting to get in the neighborhood of being nose heavy. So between that 20 and 17% is on a non-flapped airplane is where you want to be.
Okay.
Now, I'm afraid of giving you too much information here, but I'll do it anyway.
Okay.
When you've got a flapped airplane, and it's tapered and all that stuff, you do the same thing. You find the mean aerodynamic chord. You got to have that to begin with. Then what Fancher explained to me is you figure out what percentage your entire tail, your stab and elevator are of your wing area. So if you've got a stab and elevator that's, say, 20% of the
Mhm.
wing area, the rule of thumb is you would start it at 20% back on that mean aerodynamic chord line. If
Okay.
you got a 26% stab and elevator, you could go to 26%, start it there.
Mhm.
The other thing is that on your spacing to begin with, behind, say you take that balance line all the way up to the tip. Okay, you want to know how far to start your lead outs. Behind that, put the center of your lead outs. Because usually we got them about an inch apart. Inch and a quarter apart. Center your lead outs, width of your thumb, about 7/8 of an inch back to
Mhm.
start with. You'll be pretty safe at that point, and then you could make some trim flights and get it where you want it.
Okay. That's great. I'm going to save this link so I can come back and re-listen to this and get some notes down. That's perfect. Thank you.
Well, I hope it helps you. And
Yeah.
remember, this is this is what I do. That doesn't necessarily
Yeah,
mean it's
understood.
right.
Yeah, understood. But it has been successful for you, it sounds like.
Well, it's worked well for me.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of planes practically fly right off the board.
Great.
'Cause I find it very satisfactory to bench trim it really well before you take it out the first time. And using those parameters and a couple others, using them, bench trim it, I've had great success. I haven't flown much lately because I got in an accident and I don't have the skills anymore to do it. My hands, as you can see, are kind of messed up. And so
Yeah.
doesn't mean I can't fly. It's just I don't fly competitively anymore right now.
Yeah. Are you getting out and doing a little bit here and there?
I haven't flown in 7 years,
Oh, okay.
but I love designing and I
Yeah.
do work on designs.
Mhm.
I'm terrible at building now with my hands. I can't build like I used to. I build all these that are back here behind me.
Yeah.
And they were all good flyers until I didn't solder the flap horn in correctly, and so it started moving. So I put them on the wall for the time being. But it what I find works for me is I'll design it and several guys that want it, I'll send them the beta copy. I call it the one that's not proven out. And if they want to, if they still want to build it, knowing it's a beta copy, we'll keep notes on what works, what doesn't work, and we'll come out. We'll have it where it's flying and flying right by the time the real copy comes out.
Yeah. I've been watching these hangouts and seeing your progress, and I'm forgetting the name of that ship you're building, you're working
Which
on
one?
right now.
The single engine or the twin?
Well, I guess I've seen both. The single engine one was the
The single engine one was the Trailblazer.
that's it. That's the one I'm thinking of, you know.
Yeah, the Trailblazer.
Mhm.
And that I've got the profile versions, both of them, the IC version and the electric version now are in beta and out being built. So they should be all right. I did a little thing called summing the moments. It's a real simple little thing to do. And it's so handy because you can take your weights of the various components of your airplane and multiply them times the distance they are from where you want the CG to be and that, and you can figure out exactly whether you're nose heavy or tail heavy before you ever build the airplane. So then you can figure out if I have to extend the nose because I'm tail heavy, how far do I have to go to get it to balance with what I've got, and it saves a lot of frustration.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. It's the same formula that full-scale pilots use to balance their load on their airplanes when they, when they balance their load.
All right, next question. I put 1/8" piano wire landing gear in on this, and it's a little long. I need to cut some off. So will a Dremel cutting wheel work to cut that off just fine? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
That's the best thing, probably.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably the best way to do it.
All right.
Wear safety glasses.
Oh yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Especially if you have those stone cutoff wheels.
Best way for me is to use these.
The fiber ones.
No.
No, he's got,
Oh,
Yeah.
that doesn't leave like a weird burr or anything, Sparky?
Nope. I just put it on the disc sander and
Oh, well.
And, goes pop and then you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I usually use that bolt cutters for that, but I already super glued the collar on and I can't get the bolt cutter in there deep enough.
oh, yeah. I go with the Dremel cutoff wheel then.
Yeah.
You have to be careful then if you're going to leave the wheels and all that on there that you don't get the wire too hot
Oh,
and melt stuff,
yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Maybe put a little bit of moist towel
Have-
around
have-
or something.
Have
Yeah.
a can of water right next there. You can just dump it in the water, it cools it real quick.
Yeah, okay.
Probably retemper
Good
the
tip.
water too.
Anybody know how we're doing on YouTube? Is it jumpy like it was last week? I hope not.
I was watching it before I jumped in and it was looking good.
Yeah, I think it's looking good. Mhm.
Well, I apologize for that, but there's nothing I can do. It's all on YouTube.
They're just trying to get you to upgrade to the next highest ladder there.
I'm as high as you can get. You
Oh,
know,
they want to build a whole new one then and have you on that then.
yeah, probably.
Well,
Probably.
Sparky, I haven't had a chance to watch your decal video, but I'm looking forward to doing that. I've been doing decals where I have some photo quality paper that is that's got sticky back to it, and I print it
No,
out on.
no,
Well, that's what
no.
I do, and then I put put my pilot in, and then I clear over it in this
Yeah,
case.
yeah, these are cleared over as well.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
are water slide decals like when we were kids.
Yeah, I saw you doing it, and I'm looking forward to looking at that video. And it sounded like you had found some plastic modelers that had put some videos on how to do it
Yeah,
together.
train guys. This is the water slide decal paper
Yeah,
by Prince Jack, Printer's Jack, inkjet water slide decal paper. You print it out, you spray 3 coats of clear dope over the top of it,
yeah,
and then you follow what the the steps were that I showed. By you just put it in water for a minute, then take it out and set on a paper towel, and you put that microsol crap on there, and then rub it down with a cotton swab. This stuff here, this goes on first.
hmm yeah,
After that's dry, you put this over the top of it,
hmm
and it's just like a painted piece on there, and then you clear over it.
yeah. They look great.
Andy, what engine is that on your flight streak?
This is a FP25,
Okay.
OS FP25.
Good choice.
Yeah,
Doesn't weigh too much and it'll run for a decent amount of time on the tank you can fix in there.
yeah. So I've got a nice tank in there. This is a 2-ounce tank. I think I've got it plumbed right.
Is 2 ounces enough for a whole pattern on the FP25?
Well, I have to be able to figure out how to apply a pattern first.
Oh, like
How long does it run for you?
Well, again, this is going to be maiden flight of the rebuild, so
Oh,
you don't know.
don't know yet.
well, if you can get 5.5 minutes on it, you can do the pattern.
Okay.
What kind of lap time you need to be turning to get the pattern done in 5.5 minutes?
5.2.
5.2, yeah.
0.2. Yeah.
Okay. So you have 8 total minutes to get it all in, to start it and tune it and fly and land and all that. I guess that's more than enough then.
Yeah. Well, it looks like you did a good job on building that flight streak. I'm sure it'll be a good flyer. That flight streak was the one that I went from being able to almost do maneuvers that looked like they were supposed to being able to do what looked like they were supposed to.
Yeah. Flight Streak was the first, big engine plane I ever built,
Mhm.
and had fun flying that with my dad with a McCoy 29.
Yeah.
Did you follow Stunt Hangar videos?
Well, this was when I was like
No,
15.
the airplane you just built.
Oh, this one's actually, like I said, I got the plane from a fellow down in Southern California. So it was pre-built. He had never flown it. But so I ended up, I decided I wanted to just redo the controls because those solid lead outs just weren't great.
Don't use solid lead outs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Now,
I ripped that
was
out.
Wendy was a fan of them, but there's some big disadvantages to it. If you bump the lead out and bend it at the tip, you're screwed.
You're screwed. Yeah, exactly. So and plus, down in San Clemente is really close to the ocean, so they were all rusted, and so I ripped those out and redid the bell crank and put in uh, regular cable lead outs and yeah, just redid the whole thing.
Smart move. Did you wrap the lead outs or did you?
Yep.
Yeah, good.
Yep. I wrapped all the lead outs. I used I don't know if it's copper or brass, and
Copper wire, probably.
copper tube.
16th-inch copper tubing.
Yeah, through the bell crank
Like
hole.
this.
Yep. Yep. And then fed the lead out wires through that, and then wrapped it. Yep.
Good.
Yeah. Ron
Should
Byrne
work
was my mentor.
Who?
Ron Byrne.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That guy could build.
Yes, he could.
Yep.
Great guy.
So San Clemente, I never surfed up there, but I used to come close.
The fellow's name was Al, down in San Clemente. I'll have to look up his last name. But I got a barnstormer from him. He was just deciding to get out of the hobby altogether. So I have a barnstormer that have to do the same thing with it. It had solid lead outs on it too. And a couple other planes, the Ringmaster and some other small planes. So I'm about a year away from retiring. I have a whole garage full of projects ready to go.
You'll wonder when you're retired how you had time to do anything when you were working.
Yeah,
You'll have more to do in retirement than you ever did.
exactly. I mean, I look at Sparky finishing up these planes. I've been working on this flight streak for about a year on the rebuild, but it's done and ready to go.
Outstanding.
Well, we
Well,
got a
Spark-
guy, and it takes 2 years to build a Ringmaster.
Sparky's an outlier. You know that, don't you? He's an outlier.
He's the only one I see building.
There are other words you could use to describe him too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he can build very nice, extraordinarily light airplanes, and he does it in a matter of weeks. It takes the rest of us a year or more to do it. I don't think he has any other work that he's doing. And you got a real job, Sparky?
No, not anymore.
There you go.
Well, I heard he was building another plane for somebody, and he's been painting motorcycles.
I've been working on motorcycles and working on other planes, and so this hasn't progressed as fast as I wanted to, but it'll be all right. We'll get it done.
Sparky, did you touch up the spray out of Bart's paint sprayer? It looks like it's longer than I remember it being.
No.
No, that's it. That was the original one. Okay,
That's the original.
it's perfect.
He had to adjust the nozzle on the can though because the pattern was off.
Actually, what happened to this decal last night when I taped off the bottom to do these, you can't see, to do the sunbursts on the bottom, the tape went over the top of the trailing edge. And when I peeled it off, I didn't have enough clear on this, and it tore off the feet from Bart.
Oh.
So I reset the decal right back to where it was in the same spot. Took it off, took tape and peeled it off, and then put a new decal down and just cleared it today.
Oh. Darn. That sunburst looks great.
It'll be all right.
I hadn't seen that. That looks really good.
I just did that last night. It's completely, well, it's not completely painted. It gets a sunburst on the tail too. Let me change camera angles on the stabilizer.
So what's it weighing now?
I don't know, it's too heavy. It's probably 61 right now.
That's not so heavy with that amount of air, or amount of wingspan you got in wing area.
Oh my
Oh, yeah.
gosh, that's beautiful.
So it'll get another sunburst on the stabilizer there.
You ought to just put some circles back there like the Japanese flag, like the rising sun.
Yeah.
I was thinking that same thing.
And put JAP on the bottom.
I would advise against that.
Yeah.
Might get sanctioned on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I think it's JPN.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that you could do. The JAP will get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Why? There's a JAP motorcycle.
I have some friends that designed a model boat. I forget what the JAP was an acronym for something, so they were calling them Jap outriggers, and they had all kinds of hell and brimstone rain down on them. They had to change it to JAE instead of JAP. It was like, you know how it is nowadays. The one people that probably didn't care at all, Japanese people, they didn't care. It's like, it doesn't bother us, but
Like
everybody else
with
got a,
Indians, they don't care.
yeah, everybody else got offended on their behalf, So
It's like out here, we have our state, not a state college, but our, why is this? Utah State College.
Bird, the fly.
No, I'm thinking of the one that have the Utes. Is there? That's University of Utah. University of Utah. Theirs is the Utes. UTES stands for the Ute Tribe of Indians, and everybody got on them, tell them they had to change that and change that. And finally, the Ute Nation itself said, "We don't want it changed. We like it."
Oh, you're talking about my cousin Vinny.
Yeah, Utes.
Two Utes.
What kind of Utes are those?
Yeah, two Utes.
Two Utes. That was a good movie. Hey, Philip, how you doing?
Has he got ice cream again?
He does.
Man, yeah.
Dove Bar?
Huh? No, it's from Kirkland's. It's from
Costco.
Costco. There you go. Oh Lord, my wife's spoiling me.
You guys want to see where I'm at with the tandem twin now?
Certainly.
Can I get can I get Robert there to make it so we can share?
Looks like I can share. Are you
sharing, or is that your background?
No, I'm not sharing.
There you go.
That is my back.
Thank you. Oh, there it is.
They're starting to look like black and white paper plans now.
Well, that's because I printed it to a PDF so that it would show up easier and better. I spent the last couple of days working in these sections over here.
2 for the show. Is that the name now?
Yeah, 2 for the show.
I like that. Is that new, or did you say that already before?
Oh, it's been that way for 4 weeks now.
I guess.
Yeah, before that it was a bad attitude. And I found out that was the name of Paul Walker's, one of Paul Walker's planes. So I said, well, I can't have that. So two for the show seem to work all right.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I've still got a lot to do in this area here, getting these, but I've got to get this worked out before I can finish up, with these bulkheads. And then I've got to set it up to make the buck, so to form the outer sheeting. And this is all light ply. This you see here with the lightning holes and all that in it. And that sets in like this. It's an inner fuselage.
Hmm.
And so then the outside, I went back to 16th inch balsa because there shouldn't have to be a whole lot of sanding done on it once it's in there. If everything in here gets worked the way it should be, it should just fit in. It splits right along this line right here, and actually it shows better where along this line here and this line here, that brake comes off, that front part comes off to get to the battery, this to get to the motor, but it joins right along that line also. So it's just off-centered a little bit, and it's not very far off the vertical, so it should work out just fine. So that's I can't finish up the details of whatever in here until these are all done, but I'm getting close. A little bit more time on this, I'll have this done, and then I'll lay out the bulkheads for the forming bucks. And actually, no, if I'd have split it right on the center line, I could have just made one forming buck because it's round or it's curved, it matches. And I could have just formed one shell and then formed another shell, put them together.
Only you knew somebody who built airplanes really fast. They could build that first prototype for you, probably in
Yeah.
like a week and a half.
If only we knew about somebody like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Sparky.
Well, there's a lot of cutting going on here in this light ply, and that's going to get laser cut because the fact that most of these will get laser cut too, and the ribs.
I tell you what, if we could figure out how to get the whole thing laser cut, I'd clean the table off and build this.
Can
Well,
I
I-
make a design suggestion?
Yeah, go ahead.
If it was me, I would cut an inch off the back booms. I would take a half inch to 3/4 off the top of the fuselage, looking at the profile, and the same for the bottom. It's too thick back in the back.
Well, I wanted the side area there, to be honest with you.
Too much side area. You can leave the big rudder, but knock the side area down so it's more appealing. Should be less than the fuselage center.
Well, see, here's where my flap horn. That's I got to have that for clearance for the flap horn. Okay, so I can't take it down much. It's down about, this isn't as tall as you think it is. But if I go any more, I won't have any boom there.
Well, cut it off the bottom then.
Yeah.
It just looks too heavy in the back.
Well, we'll take a look at it.
I don't mean heavy in weight. I mean heavy in design. You know.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Looks, we got a sub rudder under there, which I don't understand why, but a sub rudder and then a big wide fuselage there.
That's so that if you're coming in or taking off and you crank on it too much, you can't hit the tip of the prop. It hits the sub rudder first. Stops it from buzzing your prop. So that's what that's for. I can do a few things, I think. In fact, I did do, if you look at this one is different than this one. This is the one that I'm currently working on, and it'll replace this one here. But the rudder and the sub rudder are pretty much the same size. But I know what you mean. It's like over here on the Torino. I don't know, can you see it over there?
Can't see.
No.
Can't see nothing.
See the wingtip, but that's it.
Okay, well, the Torino has a real thin uh, booms going back. But the problem
Mhm.
is here in this area, or here in this area, I have to use, I lose my advantage, my mechanical advantage, because I have to use such a short horn. And so it causes, I mean, it works, but I lose the mechanical advantage. So, there'll be, believe it, still a work in progress. There's changes and things happening, but I changed from gear mounted on the fuselage to gear mounted in the wing. I felt that I wanted that air scoop down there to get air to this rear motor better.
Mhm.
And so to do that, I had to go to the wing mounted gear. And this, I'm still working this out, but it'll be mounted. There'll actually be, this will come open because under here is where the ESC
ESC and
and the
timer.
timer, and that'll be under here.
Let me ask you this, is that fuselage all the way through to the back engine?
It is.
It should be, yeah. That
Yeah,
way
it
you
is.
can kick air in through the nose and exhaust out the nose or the nose ring of the rear engine.
Yeah, in fact, that's why the back end is so much bigger than the front end, is to get that, that ratio, that 3-to-1 ratio, so that it will draw that. And with that prop blade being right there, that should help draw that out of there too.
What I'm mentioning is if you look at a P-38, the gobble swans, a carousel, the booms are very minimal back there and they look right. That looks like the side of a full-size stunner.
That it does. I did that on purpose. But
I think that looks cool.
It doesn't mean that this is a work in progress. Things will be changing as I go along. I'll find something that will work better, and I usually will incorporate it in or check it out to see if it will
What's
work.
the tail boom? What is the tail moment?
I think it's 17, right around 17,
And the nose, 11?
at least. I did some of the moments on this with this engine back here, the weight of this engine and all that, or motor, I mean. I had to move this out was it 4 inches, 3 inches. I had to move it forward 3 inches to get it to come into balance. So it should balance the way it is now, but that's based on estimations of weight, because I don't have one built where I can actually. I know what my limits, what the weights I'm shooting for each component, but I haven't built the components yet to say, okay, they're going to make it. You're going to be easy to hit that. But it's been fun. It's been quite laying out things, getting these ellipses here for the parts that are angled in there, right? Or that's been fun. It's coming along. So, and Phil, I may take you up on this if you want to build the beta version for me.
If you
I'll
get
do it.
if you get a set of ribs, bulkheads cut and ribs, shit, I'll build one.
Okay, I can do
Well,
that.
there's two.
But I don't want to have to cut all that stuff out.
No, I understand, and I wouldn't. This stuff, this lightning holes. But what did I do here? I
But
well,
that front fuselage should be opened up as much as possible. All the way.
it's pretty much from the front to the back in this section right here.
You see on your bulkheads how like that one bulkhead looks like it's solid or whatever.
None of those are solid in there.
Do like Al Rabe so that there's a 1/4 inch all the way around it, and the rest of it's opened up inside.
This
Those are
is
just
just showing.
cross-sectional views.
This is just showing what's underneath. This area from this bulkhead to this bulkhead is one big open bay. That's so that the battery can be moved forward or back.
And then above the wing is that opened up to the back.
That's opened up to the back, and under the wing is opened up to the back, and then we'll have air coming in here We should have air coming in this scoop here with the ESC right in line with it to make sure that that stays cool. So that's kind of the idea right at this point.
Is it 2 timers and 2 ESCs and 2
It only-
batteries? Is that how you?
My understanding, it takes 2 ESCs, but it only takes one timer,
Okay.
And one battery or two?
one battery.
So doesn't the timer typically govern the speed of the motor?
No. The ESC does. Electronic speed control. The timer just times the length of the run.
Right,
But you set the RPM in the, oh, I guess you're just sending basically a throttle signal with the timer, and then
right.
the speed controller takes care of what it needs to do to govern it. So,
I'm using the same motors that Bob Hunt is using on his twins, the 2315s, I think they are. And I'm going to consult with him because he's got this system worked out as far as the battery, everything to make it work right. And I'm going to duplicate what he's got because he's got it working. So I'm pretty sure that the electric system in it will work just fine. The
Bobby says it'll work. It'll work.
Yeah. See that there was a fellow that won first place at the Nats in junior, and he built a push me, pull me. And the problem that it had, think about this now, if you're running, they didn't have electric then. So he's running it on a Fox in the front and a Fox in the back. Gas tank in the front and a gas tank in the back.
yeah, I see the problem.
See the problem already? When you go
Yeah,
uphill, what's happening?
This.
Well, yeah, but see that you go uphill, the front engine goes lean because it's having to draw the fuel. The rear
Oh, yeah.
engine goes rich because it's having the fuel on top of it, and so you can't get the runs right. So, but electric works. See, I drew the first prototype of this up, my first drawing of it, 15 years ago, and I was going to power it with a pair of 15 FPs, and I thought about it. No, that ain't going to work. So it just sat there. Well, now the electronics are where it'll work, and so now I'm going to do it.
Hmm.
Anyway, any other questions? There, I'll go ahead and stop sharing.
I think that'll work, John. I hate to differ with Sparky about anything, but that one, I think that looks good.
Yeah, I think it looks nice.
The Torino to me just looks, the tail is the only thing I didn't like about it. It was so skinny. And the
Well,
Gobber Watts, it's the same way. It just looks too darn skinny back there.
The Torino flying it flew well, except flying it's so skinny. It looks like a flying toothpick.
Yeah.
And mine is dark blue, dark Corsair blue. And so, I had a black toothpick out on the end of the line, and it was hard to,
I had a plane that was Corsair blue, and you got to put some trim on the tip so you got something to see, or you just, when it comes out of the light into the dark, you just lose it.
Yeah. Well, and that's another one of the reasons that I didn't want to lose my mechanical advantage on the control system. And so I had to have them relatively tall. And I didn't like the long skinny ones on Torino, even though they look cool. It was difficult to see to fly that plane properly for me. So,
It's kind of what has stopped me from building one already, because the plans are cool. Well, you've redone the plans, it really looks good, but I can just see that plane being real hard to see. And I have a hard time flying an SV11. I have a silver SV11 downstairs,
oh my
and
goodness.
that thing disappears. Silver's awful.
If you
I'll
ever
never
build
do
a
another
Torino,
silver airplane.
if you ever build a Torino, I recommend that your base color be yellow.
Yeah. Yellow, orange, and black is what it's probably going to be.
Yeah. If your base color is yellow, it'll show up against almost any background.
Yeah, that's one thing I never had a problem with Stinger, was seeing it. And it's yellow, orange with black stripes trim.
Right.
stripes, and it shows up. And Trina there, it looks like it would, but that gold is another color that will disappear.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Sparky, I think you got an awful good looking airplane coming out of there from something you just decided to throw together.
Yeah, it's happened before.
It always happens that way, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
now if it flies good, that's the deal.
Well, we've all been around enough to know that if it looks about right, it usually is about right.
Yep.
Well, speaking of fat fuselages, I got one to share with you.
All right.
Let's see if I can figure out which ones. Okay, here we go.
Oh,
There's the
my
I
fuselage.
remember that.
I know
I
that.
remember that.
Was Cat. Who was it? Oh, it was Walter Ullman offered some kits of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, did he?
yeah.
Huh.
Didn't get much takers on it though.
Oh. I
Well,
did.
The only thing I see
landing
wrong
gear.
with that design is that the wings need to be separated a little bit more. You know, top and bottom, a little more separation.
Mhm.
They're
It didn't have a landing gear, so a lot of the guys were turned off by it, but I think it'd be a neat airplane.
It's a combat plane. What the heck?
Yeah.
Well, see,
It actually does have a landing gear. I've got a kit, and there's like a little wheel they have in here just for taking off. But I don't know why they don't show it in the plans, but there is a wheel in there.
the only one
As I
I've
remember
ever
correctly.
seen, the only one I've ever seen did not have a landing gear, and when that thing touched down, it just started rolling.
Oh, I bet it did. Yeah.
Well, that plane with its short couple, I mean, there's nothing behind the rear flipper there.
No,
Kind of looks like one of those
that
team
got
race
hit and
planes,
busted.
doesn't it?
Looks like
Who
a
are you
what?
talking there? What?
I guess they call it team racing or whatever.
Oh no, that's a whole nother can of worms.
Aren't those little
Oh.
bitty stubby looking airplanes though?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
little stubby looking airplanes, but
Yeah.
they're usually one wing and they're very streamlined, and they usually have one mono wheel to take off and land on.
Mhm.
That's where the guy has like the battery on a strap to his
Yeah,
arm.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they can get
The
a
hot glove.
Ridiculous
phenomenal.
fast.
You should see them with diesels. They got those all. I think most of them run Ollies, Oliver Tigers, but they can get those things restarted. You can't believe how fast they can get them refueled and restarted. You
It's
know,
amazing.
1-2 flips and they're off.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Well, I did find a kit for that, Max. I've got it. That's one of my projects
Ah, cool.
down the
Well,
road.
be ready to carry a bucket out there with you because
Yeah, exactly.
you're gonna fill the bucket one way or another.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that means exactly, but I don't know if I want to know.
Well, it could be balsa or it could be something else.
Mm.
I've seen it fly. There's some YouTube videos of one guy that had built one and flew one. But man, you want to get CG right there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Mine
Yeah,
wing
if you
was
really
challenging
want to
enough
get
for me.
everybody, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's all right. Go ahead.
If you really want to get everybody mad at you, get you about a 15 or 20 size diesel engine and put it on there.
Oh Lord, no.
I've got
They'll
a
make you sit on the
PAW.
other side of the field.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, I know. Yeah. When I was flying with Ron back around 2000, there was a fella named Roy Heppenstall who was from Britain, and he was a combat flyer, and he flew vintage combat
Mhm.
diesel, and he got us flying those, and boy, we stunk every day. And
Literally.
for days afterwards, you smell.
Yeah.
It's a.
What is the component that does the stinking in that
I
fuel?
think it's the amyl nitrate.
Okay.
I have no idea what the chemical is. All I know is you can always tell when they're flying diesels. PU. Jiminy.
Yeah, we usually don't have people coming up on and say, what kind of airplane's that? Can I fly it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we had a lot of fun flying those vintage combats of his.
God, I bet so.
Yeah.
I
He
got a
had-
chance. Go ahead.
He had the fast combat as well with a Cyclone. I don't know what size Cyclone that was, but those Russian engines were 20,000 RPM engines, and I had got my dad had brought out my Flight Street that I had built when I was a kid, and this was probably, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. I decided to try fly it again, and took it down to this field and got it up in the air and flew it, did some loops, and hadn't flown for, since I was a kid. And this guy comes walking up to me, and it was Roy Heppenstall, and he had seen me flying, and he said, "Hey," he happened to have his fast combat plane in his car, and he brought it out there, and he put me up on that right then and there.
Oh, boy.
He stood behind me, and we flew it together. And man, he said, "Okay, now do loop," and there was 3 loops like that. It was crazy.
Yep.
On a fast combat ship and you're not really ready for it. I'm telling you, I got myself screwed in the ground like that one time, I'll tell you. Ended up doing big lazy 8s till the engine quit. And I Swanee, it quit up here, and I got all the way around before I realized it and brought it in for landing. Plane was just too fast. You guys might can handle it, but me, I'll stick with a little 55-mile-an-hour stunner, thank you. It's fast enough for me.
I hear you. I think 55 mile an hour might be too fast for me now, especially overhead. I'll fall flat on my butt.
Well, I've done that too.
I just did that this afternoon. I went over to the feed store and bought 50-pound box of cat litter for my cats. Okay, because they were looking at me kind of funny, like they were going to go in revolt if I didn't do something. And so I'm carrying it up on the porch. I lost my balance. I went down on the concrete, landed on my tailbone, and I couldn't get up.
Oh.
My neighbors over there saw me struggle, and they come over and help me up. But my butt's sore right now.
I know that feeling.
So I know what I got to look forward to when I go flying now.
Yeah. Always make sure you take somebody with you so they can pry you up off the ground.
Yeah.
Well, like Gordy said, he's got a flying partner that he gets to come out in the middle of the circle and so he can grab his belt and hold him upright, keep him landing on his butt.
Yep.
The problem is, John, Gordy has an advantage. He's kind of a little guy. You and I, not so much.
You haven't seen his shoulders and the way he's built. He might be a little guy.
Oh, he's not a little guy, but he's a lot smaller than us.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. But
think about Ibanez when he gets our age.
Oh,
There just ain't nobody big enough to hold him. That's a big boy, 13 years old. And
how tall is he now? 6'7"?
I think he's 6. He was 6'7" or 6'8" last time I saw him. And I think he just turned 14. So
Wow.
he's got at least 4 years to go. That boy's gonna be 7 feet or more.
I'll bet you that before he's out of high school, he'll have a contract and
Basketball.
college. We try to recruit him and all of that for basketball.
Oh yeah.
And football. They like big tall guys in football too.
You don't think we'll make him a jockey?
A
He
jockey.
can carry the horse.
That's going to be one big. It's going to have to be one big horse, brother. I'm telling you, I walked up I saw him and his dad standing there at Brodak, and I thought, dang, they look pretty good sized guys. I'm going to walk over here and say hello because I talked to him on here, and So I go over and introduce myself. And I walked over and said, "Hey, Philip." And I kept getting closer and closer, and I kept having to look up more. I said, "Dang, guys. Good gracious. I'm 6'4". You're huge."
I used to be 6'3", but I think I'm 6'1.5" now. Been
I don't know
shrink-
how much I've shrunk, but I'm sure I've shrunk.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, it's I don't envy them because I had a problem growing up. I love sports cars. When you're 6'4" in the 70s, there just weren't many sports cars that you could get in. And now I can get in and out of a Corvette, but it takes a little effort. And a Corvette is not what I call a sports car. I mean, I realize it is. Don't get me wrong. It's a world class sports car. But at least the Z06 is. But to me, that's not a sports car. That's a sports car, but not the kind I like. I like SCCA 4-cylinder little hot rods, 4 to 6 cylinder little hot rods.
Yeah.
And there just weren't many I could get in. I got in an MG. I built a Bug Eye Sprite, got in it one time. I had to take the top down and fall into it. And then to get out of it, I had to get my mother to bring me a wrench so I could take the steering wheel off. No way I could get out of that darn thing.
Oh, geez. That's terrible.
Oh. And I got in the process, I got a Charlie horse in my hip, and I had to get 2 of my neighbors to come help me out of the darn thing. It was not pretty.
Well, that's what
But
you get for
anyway.
being so dang big.
Well, I didn't think I was that big. I always thought I was I always thought of myself as one of the little guys. I mean, when your 2 brothers are 6'6" and 6'8", you're a little guy at 6'4".
Oh, yeah, you are. But, you know,
Yeah, well, but
I used to have to play center against guys your height because on the little city basketball team. And here I am 6'3" and they're 6'4", 6'7", 6'8".
yeah,
You know, and all I could do is kick him in the kneecap when I went up.
yeah. Well, I played a little bit of football and was always a wide receiver, but the coach always told me, your natural talent is getting in the darn way. If you weren't such a good catch, I'd put you on defense because so a game came and I don't remember exactly the circumstances, but I ended up playing defense. Got 2 interceptions that game.
Did you?
He says, I told you, dang, you're good at getting in the way.
You know, Phil, I'll say this and then I'll change the subject, but I used to like to play a little bit of sandlot football type stuff, you know. You know what my favorite position was? It was defense guard right next to the center. You know why? I was a skinny little guy at that time. And I learned how to get between the guy that was defending and my center and get to that quarterback and sack him. I loved sacking the quarterback.
Well, that was what I did. But when I graduated high school, I was 6'4", 160 pounds. You don't get a whole lot strong. I mean,
Yeah.
string
Well,
bean. That's what everybody called me, string bean.
I remember one time I had sacked this quarterback probably 6 times by now. And they couldn't stop me. So they put 2 guys on me. 2 guys. And so when the ball snapped, I went like this, moved back, and I went right over the top of him, got him again.
Yeah, my favorite move was catch the football, and then there was always a dang defender there, and he'd just stand there and wait and see what you did. And you couldn't do it but once or twice, and they got wise to it. But you fake left and go right, or you fake right and go left. And once they move, you just go the other way. But if they didn't move, then you were in trouble because you didn't know what they were going to do. Most times they move, you go the other way. But if it didn't move, or if whatever, you just keep going the way you started and just pray you can outrun the darn guy. Because at 160 pounds, and most of those guys were 220, 230.
Yeah.
It was going to hurt.
Yeah. Well, what are you building now? You getting things painted?
No, I haven't painted a darn bit. I've tried several times and I have promised too much. I'm going in the morning, supposed to be going flying in the morning. And I'm taking a vet fishing and where in fact, I'm sitting there with a whole box of flies I've got to put in my fly box to get them arranged, nymphs and attractors and whatever, get them ready for tomorrow. And I don't know, I'm hoping next week is supposed to be warmer. I'm hoping I've got everything ready. I think I could have the plane outside on the stand and have the regulator outside and the hose is right by the back door, everything outside and running in 5 minutes. So I'm hoping next week. Now the paint will have to sit outside for 45 minutes just to get normalized, get the paint, the color, temperature. I'll get it out in a minute, get the temperature right. But I don't know what I'm gonna do about the air in the compressor being higher than the air outside, warmer than the air outside, because that can make moisture.
Yes, it can.
So I don't know what, I don't quite know what to do about that, but I'm gonna try it anyway.
We need to get that little shack you got there set up for your.
Oh, and my wife and my daughters they've already figured out they're getting me a inverter. I'm not supposed to know this, and they're in the other room where they can hear me, but I'm getting an inverter for Christmas.
Okay.
And I'm gonna wire the thing, and I've got a big it's 110, but it's a huge 50-gallon or 100-gallon air tank to go out, air compressor to go out there, brand new. And I got a 50 in the basement, and I got 100 to go out there. Then I've got some other little tricks. I got the curtains. My daughter got me curtains back here. What? Yeah. Okay.
Well, did you see that manifold that Howard built for his spray?
No, I did not. I wish I had.
Oh,
But we're working
just
things
talk to him
out.
when he's on, he'll show it to you.
I'm not going to be here that long. I got to go in just a
Oh,
few
no,
minutes.
I mean, in the future.
Yeah. I just screwed up saying something, but anyway, we're gonna get things straightened out. Next year I'm gonna be able to paint, but this year I'm not. It's the basement is just not. It's just not working because the moisture comes out and you get a spitball of water come out and it just messes up everything. But it's all right. It'll work for the time being. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it. I'm gonna do it next week. I think what I'm gonna do is open the garage door and let the tank cool off or warm up or whatever and try that because I think that'll work. The only thing worries me is when you open the doors this time of year, you invite the critters in.
Well,
And
let's see. As it compresses, it heats up. The air heats up on compression. When you release it, it cools down. Is that right? That's how it seems to be right.
yeah, it cools down, but in the process, it makes moisture.
It drops all the moisture that it's created in there. Yes.
But now I do have a new dryer that I've just put in line, and we're going to try that and see what that does.
Well, see, that's
So
that's what's in that manifold that Howard built. He's got a dryer and a thing to remove water and filters and all that in line there. And it really cleans his air real good.
I'm going to look into that. I'd like to see it because Howard is pretty dang sharp, guys. I'm telling you.
No.
Howard will tell you that he's just,
Yeah.
he's just not that sharp. And I'm here to tell you, I have talked to Howard at length, and Howard Rush is smart.
Yeah,
Don't
yes.
let him fool you. Anybody that works on aviation instrument technology is no dummy.
Well, he's got such a dry sense of humor, though. You don't know whether you can believe half what he says.
Well, I'm telling you, if he tells you he don't know how to do it, and it's electronics, in a few days you'll get a note or something in the mail, and you'll have it because Howard is darn sharp.
Yes, he is.
That board that he figured out, and I thought the Tut board was, I didn't know who developed it, but I did not realize that Howard did it. And now he's got another one that makes the Tut look like a beginner's project.
What is the Tut board, Phil?
The Tut board goes on the timer, goes in the airplane, it goes on a timer, and you make a big loop and point the airplane down and just keep it down a little bit longer than a regular loop and pull out. It cuts the motor off. So you cannot get an overrun. You can shut the plane off. If you want to shut it off right there, do your loop where the vertical angle is right there, and that's where it'll cut off. And then you bring it around one lap and land it for FAI.
And if you have a problem with your airplane, you can do a cutoff loop anytime you need to shut it down.
Yeah, Howard came up with that, and it works. It works very well. I watched it at the Nationals, and it works very well. Howard came up with that, and Howard ain't no dummy, buddy. I'm telling you, Howard's darn smart,
Is
and he
there
builds a
anything
beautiful.
like that? Is there anything like that for IC models?
No, I see you fly till you run out of fuel. It just there's no way to do it for IC models, but I don't know. The electronics has the IC beat so bad in easy to start and never getting an overrun and running the same every time. That's the advantage of the electric.
But
To
there
me,
are problems because the engines do quit from bad connections or whatever.
The
Yeah.
glow plugs last longer for sure.
well, glow plugs, propellers, and fuel are what got me to go electric. When glow plugs went to $11 a piece, $11 a piece, I ordered 12 of them from SIG, and they came in. The element is too short. It sticks way down the cylinder, almost a 16th of an inch down the hole. They're great as long as you got the battery attached, but you unhook the battery, the motor quits. That don't do me a bit of good. And I've got 12 of them. Well, I've got 11 of them now. Then fuel went from, I remember buying fuel $5.50 a gallon,
Oh yeah.
and now it's what, $35 a gallon?
Oh, it's not that bad, is it?
Oh,
That
around
for
here.
road acts, it's 40 something.
Our hobby shop sells fuel for 10% nitro is $25 a gallon for regular, model
I
airplanes.
need to come to your shop because we can't get it for that. But we've got our shop wants, all they want to sell is cool power and whatever that other is. Ain't got enough oil in it for nothing. I can't get it to run right. But then the other thing, propellers, tune pipe propeller. You'd think tune pipes, everybody's running them. The propellers would be reasonable. $55 is about the cheapest good tune pipe propeller I could find.
Who even makes them anymore?
I don't know.
McDonald.
Do what?
Well, maybe not. He's kind of sick.
Yeah, I thought he was in the hospital for an extended time or something like maybe
Who's
not.
that?
Bob McDonald.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was a post. Was it on Stunt Hangar, Sparky? I thought there was a thread about it.
Yeah, he's got a problem. I don't know what it is, but you can make him yourself. It's not that big a deal.
Well, somebody needs to show us how to make them ourselves because I would try to learn. But he, just those three things together, when you can go down to the store and get a badass propeller for $8 and it works, and they're light, they're very, very light. They're wood, but they're very, very light. You don't need a glow plug. Like Sparky says, you do have connection problems, but I can show you how to put a resistor in line where when you go to plug your shorten cable in, you push that button and the thing charges the capacitors in the ESC before you plug it in. You do not get an arc. It lasts a lot longer. And it's not something I came up with. Igor Berger had it on his site over a year ago. And I just looked to see what he was doing, and I went and made myself one, and it works.
Here's a homemade propeller.
Yeah, but you got to remember that's probably a Sparky, and Sparky can do the rest of us can't do.
I got 4-blade homemade propellers. I showed how to make them.
What kind of resin is that, Sparky?
HTR 250.
HTR.
Yeah,
And where do you get the molds?
you make them?
Out of aluminum?
No. The resin is this right here. And I'll show you a mold.
I'll be right back, guys. I gotta go hit the head.
Uh-huh. That Butsky hurts, huh?
Oh, yeah.
There's a mold right here. And then you put the other piece on it. That looks like that, and that's the other side. And then they go together. They're not hard.
It's not hard for him. There's no
I was
way in the
gonna
world I
say.
could do that.
Well, it would take a lot of time for sure. It's probably easier to go buy that wooden badass propeller, I bet.
I bet $8 a piece.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there's room for everything. There's room for a muffler. There's room for a pipe. There's room for the electric. In fact, I do all three. I fly mufflers. I still fly Fox 35s. I fly Fox 59s, fly tune pipes. I haven't flown one in a while, but I've got one hanging on the wall downstairs and another one, an impact that's almost ready to go again. And then electric. So, I mean,
It's
my
all
biggest
about
deal.
desire. All you got to do is want to do it, and you can make it.
Yeah. Sparky, how long a lines you fly on?
64 foot,
That's what I'm going to.
eye to eye.
I kept flying. I couldn't figure out. I said, why am I having to slow this thing down so much? And I'm still getting a 5.1 lap time. And it's just pulling my arm off. I finally stretched them out here in the front yard and measured the darn things, 68 feet.
And you're flying 5.1 at 68 foot?
Yeah.
Boy, that must be really screaming.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
So is that what would make it pull harder? Is the airplane's going a lot faster?
It's going a lot faster. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's moving. So I'm gonna run it out to 64 feet, and then try to slow it down. I want to get a 5.25 lap time. That's what I'm after. That's where I'm comfortable. I don't know. I've seen Sparky fly a lot faster than that, but I've seen Sparky fly a lot slower than that too. Depends on what airplane he's flying.
Yeah. My Vipers fly at about a 5.5.
This
Yeah.
reminds me of something I wanted to ask about. Do you feel like how fast your airplane is affects your score? And I don't mean because you fly a better or a worse maneuver. Presume you could fly the same quality of maneuver, say at 4.8 and at 5.2 and at 5.6. Do the judges care?
You can't make a pattern look right at 4.8. I don't care who you are. I seen Walker fly at 4.8, and the pattern doesn't look right. It's just bang, bang, bang like a combat pattern.
Yeah.
They need to the prettiest pattern, I think, is like Mike McHenry. He flies at 6 seconds. But I can't fly that slow. Of course, the Lujan with her airplane, I think she was at 5.5.
So there's not anything in the judging criteria per se, but it
Oh.
just ends up being that way.
Yeah,
No,
no,
it's
there's
just-
no
it's just-
criteria in the judging.
But I'm gonna tell you what, some of those people, like at Lujan, she adjusted her lap times when the wind came up and such, and she flew at 5.5 part of the time, and she flew at 5.25. But when she changed, she knew what to change it to because it was dead on. She never changed it, but one time to slow it down, one time speed it up. But that woman could fly, buddy. I'm still in awe at how well she flew.
I'm surprised nobody has really said anything about the guy who won.
He was great too, but he was a guy flying an airplane regular size. This is a little bitty woman, little bitty Chinese woman. And she just, I don't know. I don't know if it was because of her size, her looks, but she was just impressive. She was really impressive. And everybody out there was in awe of her. Even the guys that were flying against her were in awe of the way this woman was flying. She was just really impressive and so darn nice. Everybody says, oh, the Chinese won't talk to you. They won't talk to you. Well, I'm going to give it a try. I didn't have a bit of trouble talking to her or her dad. I mean,
They
it was
gave me
great.
their flag.
Yeah. They're great. They were great people. I had a good time with them. And
Are you guys looking to switch to their system of government, you think, or
I know.
God, I hope not.
little too far to go?
That's
Well,
way
we'll
too
know.
far to
We'll
go.
know on November 5th if we're switching to Chinese.
I'm
Yeah,
so
really.
worried about this.
God, I hope. I hope not. I'll tell you.
All right, sorry. That's enough of that kind of talk. Bye, Larry.
Yeah. Yeah. But Sparky's got the good engines. If you're going to go with a Tiger, he's got the good ones. The Tiger with a new sleeve and piston in it. He just run. I mean, those things. I like to give Sparky a hard time, but you can't fuss at his motors. He comes out the field and pops that thing one time and it's running, and I'm sitting there. Now wait a dang minute.
You can spinner flip these.
Yeah,
Just spinner flip it and it'll go.
that's the way I do mine. But that 60 is, I do a 60 that way because I don't want to put my fingers in that daggum carbon. Well, he don't use carbon fiber either. He uses wooden, but you don't want to put your finger in that you get hit by that motor, it hurts. And it stays hurting for a while.
When I was a kid messing with these, we'd fly when it's cold, and I didn't know about chicken sticks. I didn't ever use a chicken stick till I got older, and I'd flip these things, and they'd catch your finger in the cold. Damn, did it hurt!
You know, one that hurt me the worst. 049s ate me up worse than anything else, but the one that hurt the worst you'd get hit and it wouldn't cut you, but you would hurt for days was the Super Tiger 35, G21 35.
Yep.
Oh man, those things were nasty. Then I was out starting one morning and getting ready for a combat match and flying a ringmaster with a G21 on it and hit that thing with a chicken stick, flipped it. I didn't hit it, I flipped it. The prop did not break, but the chicken stick did. My chicken stick was an old drumstick. My older brother was a drummer, and I got so tired. I got so tired of hearing that drum beat that I took his drumsticks and cut them in half and made me 4 chicken sticks. I said, I got enough chicken sticks to last me the rest of my life. And my brother beat me to the edge of my life. But anyway.
Was this the one you six?
You mentioned
6'8".
that. It's surprising. I remember back starting those G21 35s with Tornado, the yellow Tornado 88 props on them, barehanded, no chicken sticks.
Sparky, gotta have a long talk with you someday, brother. You ain't got good sense. Or you didn't have.
When I was a kid, we didn't use chicken sticks when I was a kid.
Man.
Didn't your dad have a hobby shop?
Yeah.
And the electric starters weren't out yet?
They were out, but we didn't use them.
Oh.
Sparky,
I never hardly use them.
You a wild man, Sparky.
I don't get it.
Roy Trantham used to say there's 2 types of people that put their fingers in a propeller. Those that have never done it before, and those are just plain stupid. He wouldn't start one by hand. He used a starter every time. And I never would use a starter. I never did use a starter. There was one in my flight box. In fact, I've loaned it to Roy. But I've never used a starter on my motor. And
Didn't you used to get more points or something for hand starting back in? There used to be something about that.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
There used to be a 5-point starting bonus if you could start by hand within a minute.
I thought just if you started within a minute. I didn't know if it was by hand.
It was, nobody used starters back then.
Yeah. I didn't really get into it until the 70s. And by then it was, we just didn't do it.
There used to be 40 appearance points until the liberals got a hold of it. Take away the starting points, take away the appearance points.
The liberal.
Sparky, I will be surprised if in the next 5 years they don't take away builder of the model rules.
Yeah, and then I'm done. Stunt Hangar's finished.
Well, I'll be surprised if that don't disappear in the last 5 years. Well, I got a question for you, Sparky. I've been meaning to ask you for weeks and never have asked you. Why do you never build wheel pants?
Weight.
Well, the release drag, less drag sometimes outweighs the weight.
No. The wheel pants, I was going to build wheel pants on this. If I could build them light enough, if this one would have come out, this is at 61.5 ounces right now.
Oh
and there's probably enough, there's another 2, maybe 3 ounces more of clear to go on it, plus the wheel skirts. If I could build this thing at 55 ounces, I'd put wheel pants on it with, maybe urethane. But I can't build them light enough because the wood we got is shit.
Can't argue with that. I can't find any good wood. I just got an order in and turned around and sent the entire order back.
Who did you get it from, Phil?
I ain't gonna say because I'll get myself in trouble.
I got a whole pile of wood over there. It's all crap.
Yeah, but I've ordered it from several different companies and got it in and wished I'd never ordered it. But I opened it up, never even pulled it out. Just you could see from the end of it. No. And take the whole box and pick it up, and it had to weigh 10 pounds.
All you got to do when you get that box is measure the size of the box and put it on the scale, get the grams, and see what pound it is. And if it's over 6 pounds, you know your wood's over 6 pounds.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did. I couldn't find my scale's still broken, so I picked it up, tugged it, and stepped on the scales. And I said, "Well, I know what I weigh without the wood. What do I weigh with the wood?" And I stepped up there, and it was 10 for what I'd ordered. Now it was over $100 worth of wood, but that's not hard.
No,
That is not hard nowadays.
Like
I've gotten those 3 Skyrays I'm building. That's all Schaefer's wood, Sparky.
yeah.
There's some wood in it that's over 6 pounds, but I've gotten wood from up there that's in the 5 pound range. I take a scale with me up there and pick it out. I got 12 sheets of 16th inch sheeting from Hobby Lobby not too long ago that was 5 pound wood.
Well, I tell you what, I went to Hobby Lobby and bought it out of the store. It was 5 pound wood.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I go there.
I got a 1 pound block, 1 inch thick from Schaefer's at 3 pounds.
You know, I picked that thing up 4 times before you bought it. I remember thinking, this is really light. What would I do with it? Because I don't build those kind of airplanes where you carve big hunks of wood, so I never bought it. But yeah, that's.
I never carved big hunks either. I'd use foam and build a mold and then mold it. Build a bucket and mold it. Sparky likes to carve. I don't. I just.
Well, this one here is molded because I didn't want to waste that good piece of wood that we're talking about on this.
Yeah, I got a piece of wood downstairs I probably had for 10 years. It came from the School of the Arts. And it was used to make a what do you call it? A fence. The 2 posts and 3 things across, and in the play, the guy goes through the fence. Guy hits him and he goes backwards through the fence. Well, every night they busted 3 of these big logs, and these dang things are 6-8 feet long, and they're about so big. So I asked the prop master, could I have the logs when they got through them? He says, on one condition. I said, what's that? You help me cut the ones that we're using tomorrow night. Well, all you did was take the ends of it and cut in on it a little bit where it would go up in the post on each end. Shoot, yeah. So I got some wood, and I've given a couple of my buddies a couple pieces of it, and I've still got one left downstairs. I got a guy driving me crazy to get it, and he ain't getting it. I'm keeping that one. But I don't know how they get it, and we can't. But I talked to Harold the other day, and they've got another play coming up where they're going to do same type of thing again. It's not a fence this time, but it's a wall, but they're going to the guy's going to go through a wall, and he said, if you'll come over and help me build the props. But we're doing 2 shows a day, so there's going to be plenty of it. 2 shows a day for a week. So I'm going to see if I can't get up there, get them to let me in to do it. And if they will, I'm going to have some balsa. I told him, if not, I'll pay you for the scrap. Just put it in a pile and I'll come get it. He said, I can fill your pickup truck up in a week. I said, that's fine. That's fine.
What do you think about what Bob Hunt wrote something probably within the last year or so that I read, where so you can't get, let's say you can't get 5 pound 1/8 inch wood, but you can surely get 10 pound 16th inch wood, and
You still got 10 pound wood. That's bullshit.
well, yeah, but if you got half as much wood,
Yeah,
it's gonna weigh the same as twice as much wood that's half the weight. It's just math.
sounds good. I couldn't make it work. I tried it.
I tell you what, the vectors and some of that stuff, the almost ready to fly kits from Brodak, they're made with 1/16 fuselage sides and 1/16 plywood inside it that's cut like all those little lightning holes that John had on the push me pull you a while ago.
Mhm.
Two for the money. I can't remember the name of it, John.
2 for the show.
2 for the show. Okay.
One for the
It's
money,
got-
2 for the show.
Yeah, it's cut like that the whole way. And it comes out really light, but it's heavy wood. It is not good wood. It's lightweight. It's thin. And I was thinking, boy, that's utter junk. But you know what? When you crash that full thing, it's like a crush zone in a car. It crushes and you don't tear the whole plane up. That Vector came in from straight overhead, motor quit straight overhead, fell down and fell on asphalt. Now it destroyed the motor. And it didn't do the ESC any good either, but the timer and the well, it busted the battery too. But anyway, the airplane itself from the leading edge back was fine. Didn't hurt anything. I literally went straight in and just hit and fell over. I reused everything from the firewall back and just built a new front end on it. Now I only got a few flights out of it before I totaled it. The wind took it away from me in West Virginia, but the plane itself, there was no stress cracks in the back that I could find. The wing was still good. It was amazing. But I'll tell you this, when you crash on AstroTurf, don't let anybody tell you that stuff won't catch your plane, because it catches a whole lot worse than grass does. I mean, it just stopped at inboard wing, and the thing that's what busted the wing. I saw the whole outboard wing come up at me once the inboard wing touched. I said, oh crap, look at this. This ain't going to be good. Then it started shedding parts as it went cartwheeling down across the grass. Man. But anyway, live and learn, guys.
Well, if I could find some
Yeah, me too.
good affordable 16th inch light ply, I'd go that route with that instead of that
Well,
1/8 inch.
what-
But it's hard to find it. I've got some once from Wix, or what's the other one of those two airplane suppliers, and it was expensive, way more expensive than.
I got it from Aircraft Spruce.
Pardon?
But the shipping was so bad that my wife and I went down to Atlanta to the contest at I can't remember the name of the place. It starts with a C, but I can never remember it. Tom Dixon's contest. And we went down to the contest and went on down to Aircraft Spruce and picked it up
Yeah,
because the shipping is just absurd.
yeah.
I did learn, if you want to order dope, if you'll order it in quart cans instead of gallon cans, a lot of times you can get away. They won't charge you the hazmat fee. If you order gallons, they charge you the hazmat. So after learning that, I'll order quart cans next time, because I ain't driving back down there below Atlanta again. My wife said, we're not going back through Atlanta. And she's right. We're not going back through Atlanta. That place is,
What's wrong with Atlanta?
it took me 5 hours to get there and 4 hours to get across town.
Their freeway systems need a little work, don't they?
Their freeway system's a dang-gum nightmare.
Well, they were designed 40 years ago.
You know, that's the thing my wife and I were talking about. We started going down and we went to Atlanta, misguided people we were. We were going to Florida and we couldn't make it. Vicky was an accountant, worked for an accountant, and we couldn't be gone but 4 days, I think it was. So we got to Atlanta and decided that's as far as we're going. So we went to Atlanta and we spent our honeymoon in Atlanta, and the place was bad then. March 1st of 75, it was bad then. It looked like the place had been bombed out in World War II and they were trying to rebuild. Up until about 3 years ago, it's still, up until the year before the Olympics, that's when they finally got everything finished. It looked like it was a war zone. It was just a mess. Well, they finally got everything finished and you're trying to get around in it. You got places where there's 5 highways that come together and dump into one highway. Now, if you can't figure out that's going to be a nightmare, you need to think about it a minute. Somebody was not thinking.
See, in
But-
Los Angeles, when they do that, those 5 would dump into one, but there'd be 8 lanes each direction on the one it's dumping into. And even then, they'd have problems with it.
Well, this don't do it like that. I don't know what you could do to fix this. But Atlanta's the only town I've ever been in my life. 6 lanes coming into town. Speed limit 55 miles an hour. You're in a little Chevy Vegas station wagon with your wife and 2 daughters in the back seat. You're going through town with your foot on the floor doing 85 miles an hour. A highway patrol pulls up beside you and says, go on, go on. I said, it's on the floor. He just shakes his head and goes on. I mean, there was some of them running over 100 miles an hour.
Oh,
They ain't giving no speeding tickets. They're about to stop me because I'm not going fast enough. I said, 85 is all it's got. But then, I'm telling you, Atlanta is just, that's another world, buddy.
well, I'll tell you
Oh,
what, I've been working on my Toyota Sunraider,
Mm-hmm.
the camper van, or camper
Mm-hmm.
truck.
Camper truck, yeah.
I get that thing working. You might see me come out there for a visit come this next summer.
Sounds good to me.
Still got Shake Tree relatives down in Atlanta.
Well, I'm telling you what, you can have that.
Well,
Atlanta is awful.
well, you
I
know,
just
I'm
if the Garmin would work down there, John, it would be a lot better.
yeah.
But the Garmin, so help me, I'm at Tran's house. It's here, and I'm staying in a hotel that's here. The Garmin got me to get on the highway coming out of the hotel and go way down here, almost 20 miles. Well, go way down here, then cut across and on another highway, and then come back to Tran's. When I talked to Tran about it a couple hours later, he says, Philip, it's right down the road. 5 miles down the road. I went 40 miles to go 5 miles because the road changes names twice in between there.
Yeah.
And the Garmin couldn't figure it out.
Well, I went
So I
to a
said,
gig. I went to a gig here to play at a little town. They were having a big barbecue and they wanted a band to play. And it was 80 miles of dirt road. I'm telling you, it was about 140 miles from here to there. It was right on the Utah-Nevada border, right near the southwestern corner of Dugway Proving Grounds. Little town called Callio. Nice little town, good people. But I'm telling you, I had the back door, the hatch on my Honda was closed, but between the outside and where the gasket was at seals, I had a quarter of an inch of dust stacked up in there just from driving down that dirt road.
I can't stand dirt roads. We had, if you ever go to Columbia, South Carolina, only place that I know of in modern day, where you're in the capital city of the state and you have sand roads. There are sand roads in the capital city within 3 miles of the capital.
Really?
Grass on each side comes in so far that it's now a 1-lane road because the grass will take the paint off the side of your car.
Well, they like being a rural town, a rural state, you know.
I'm telling you.
Isn't that where Opie and then we're all from?
No. That's North Carolina. That's Mayberry, Mount Airy.
Yeah,
Mayberry,
okay, well,
about 35 miles from here.
okay,
Yeah,
but wasn't North Carolina kind of like that at one time?
well, not in my lifetime. We had a lot of dirt roads, yeah. We
Yeah.
had a lot of dirt roads till a few years back in Pilot Mountain and out in that area. Yeah, we had a bunch of dirt roads, and most of them are paved now. But I remember when the guys would go down the road at 60 miles an hour on a dirt road, and all you'd see is a trail of dust. How the cops could follow them, I don't know, because the red dust would be so thick. It was, and the holes were so bad, man. I don't know how in the world anybody
Well, if the
ever.
wind was blowing,
Mine.
you wouldn't know if they made a turn on that one turn back there or not, you
Yeah,
know?
I'm telling you, it was weird. But I have my whole family was either, well, not whole family, but I had several aunts and uncles that were chicken farmers, dairy farmers, and tobacco farmers.
Hey guys, let me get to the chats here.
All right.
Roy Lane says, good evening, guys and girls, like given.
Hey, Roy.
Wayne Rice says, hello, guys and girls, like given. Then Tony Dallas says, hi, Sparky, like given. I was at the Golden State event today for practice, but it was too windy for me. Got some other pilots and Charles Carter, cool group of guys. Picture looks good by Wayne. Okay, so that's the end of the chat. We didn't get much chat, but you know what I have noticed about this? Ever since I took back over, nobody seems to be interested in this. It's we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in here. 4 or 5, yeah. Didn't Charles used to have the whole group of guys, or is it just the
Oh,
time?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
what?
He had quite a few guys in there on an average basis.
I haven't seen, well, there could be contests too, because
Yeah. You got the Golden State going on. There's something going on in the Midwest. And I think there's something going on back out in the East, contest wise this weekend.
Yeah, I think that's where Mr. Adamison is. I'd be surprised if he's not at the contest.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's just us old diehards, us old farts that don't.
I have a couple airplane questions if you guys want to hear them.
Fire it on.
Go
That's
ahead.
what we're here for.
First one, I guess, probably just for John, but maybe not. What is a Pathfinder XL? I see a picture of it here in a Facebook group.
So that was a fella that took the regular Pathfinder and enlarged it.
So that's not you.
didn't he
Pardon?
make it a full fuselage?
This happens to be a profile, the one I
It's a
see.
profile.
Okay.
I did the first full body Pathfinder that was a Pathfinder 40. And then we
That's
did
what I'm building
Pathfinder
now.
60.
So was that a 60, John? Did he made it bigger too? Like he put a 60 on it, or
No, the Pathfinder 40 and 60 were things that I did. This is a fella that took the regular Mark II, the Brodak version of the Pathfinder, and enlarged it. And obviously it flew good, it flies good, you know. So it's just going up. Now, what I've done, I was going to do a profile version of the Pathfinder 40, and then I realized, no, I really need to change its name because it's, you know, kind of Gordon's name was for the airplane was Pathfinder. So that's why the Trailblazer came into being. Means basically the same thing, but it's 655 square inches profile. It's built for a big IC engine, 46 up to 60 at least, up into that area. And it's a 3/4 inch thick fuselage, things like that. Coming up on that series would be 3 more airplanes. It'd be a full body electric, a full body IC, and a twin. So that's what's planned for that series.
Okay.
Profiles cut out downstairs.
What'd you say?
I said the profile is almost all cut out downstairs. I've got a few more pieces to cut. I gotta get that darn nose cut, the electric front end. I haven't got that cut yet, but as soon as I get that cut, it'll be time to start assembling.
So
Probably start working on the wing next week.
You're building the electric one, then that's
Yes,
good.
sir.
That's good.
Yeah.
So the second question I had was, so in terms of race cars, I know what gurney flaps are on a wing, but I've seen people talk about adding them to non-flapped airplanes somehow. I don't know if it looks like they're adding them to the wing somehow. Is this something that somebody could explain to me, or?
Who wants to do it?
Well, I don't know, but I read
No,
about
who
it.
wants to explain it is what I was.
Okay.
Go for it, John. I don't want to
Okay.
do it.
I think Tran should do it, but what the heck?
Tran would be the one to do it.
Yeah, the gurney flaps are a little flap piece that goes on.
I know that. Yeah, I never tried them.
Well, no, I was talking to
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Steve Smith there. I just saying you should you know more about them than I do, but they're basically a little flat extension that extends above and below the stationary or the movable flap about 1/8 of an inch, somewhere in that area. And it's just like a little dam there, and it seems to make the wing a little more efficient.
Goes on just like that.
There you go. He's showing it right there.
So it just somehow is an extra piece stuck 90 degree to the airflow.
Yeah.
90 degrees to the elevator or the flap, but they only go on the elevators.
They don't go on the wing then.
No,
I've never seen
on
them
the wing. I've seen them on the flap, the elevators, but I never seen them on flaps.
Oh, okay. Maybe I was misunderstanding then how they got used.
if you put that on your flaps and one of them came off,
You would be.
if it happened to be if it happened to be the inboard one that came off, you might be all right. But if the outboard one came off, that plane would most likely turn in on you. It would not be a fun day because they're little, but they are ridiculously effective.
Okay.
Hey, Trent,
Yes.
you remember that time we sat and you gave me your idea about using some angled aluminum to make the battery box out of? You know,
Not
adjustable.
aluminum, but yeah.
Yeah, it was adjustable. One would slide, and so you could, hold it tight with the
Did you
Velcro.
short your batteries?
No, haven't done it yet. But I'm putting it on the tandem twin, the two for the show.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd let you know.
Put a piece of balsa or a piece of paper on top of it so you don't short the connections.
Good idea. I'd make it out of carbon, but I don't have the wherewithal to do it. So
Train can.
Try-
Train showed me or showed everybody online one night. It's not that hard.
no, it's not that hard. You just got to have the stuff to do it with.
Well, you just need two pieces of angled aluminum, one that fits in the other one, and then put
Yeah.
two pieces of balsa and wrap it in carbon that's got some epoxy on it. Put it in there and press it together and clamp it and let it dry. It's not hard.
Yeah.
I did it, and if I did it, I know you can do it.
What the problem is the carbon and the epoxy or the. I live out in the desert. Remember,
Yeah,
very rural.
yeah.
300 miles from the nearest hobby shop, and they don't have anything like that because they all deal in cars.
I tell you what, you're going to have to get used to the same thing that I'm having to get used to in model airplanes, in rod building, in fly tying. If you want it, you get on the computer and order it.
Yep, that's what I do.
Amazon will have it to your door next day. They got everything.
Yeah, they do.
It's amazing. That's exactly right.
I bet you I could actually order 90-degree angle carbon finish.
You probably can.
You wouldn't probably order it right there. I'll look into that.
Probably can.
Because then I wouldn't.
It does exist, but it's kind of expensive.
Yeah. Look at Master Car. They probably got it. Oh, excuse me.
It's a very good option to just use the like go to Home Depot, get 90-degree angles.
Yeah, I've got that already.
And put some cling wrap on top of it. And you lay up your material. I use unidirectional with some fiberglass to it to hold the fibers together so they don't split up. Okay, and probably 2 layers of unidirectional, 100 grams per square meter, like the stuff you got probably from Smith. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. God rest in peace, right?
Yeah.
And you put 2 layers of that, maybe put a layer of fiberglass between them. What you want to do, just wet the carbon and stuff like that, put it between paper towels and put some pressure on it to suck all the excess resin out of it, right?
Yeah.
Look at that link. It's quarter by quarter.
And so and after that I use like a 1/32 piece of balsa on top of it. You can go 1/16, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And you do the same thing on the other side. So you have your sandwich, you put the cling wrap on one side and just fold it over on top of it. So you have all like a sandwich, put in between the irons, done.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to play with it. It's about the lightest way of doing it that I've found so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Search for that on Amazon. You get 4 pieces of quarter by quarter carbon fiber for $29. 4 pieces. How long are they? Let's see.
It's $29.
That's $5 a piece.
There's 36 inches long, quarter by quarter angle iron, 4 pieces. So you get
a whole bunch of them out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember where I looked for it, but it was kind of expensive. And that's when I decided to make my own. I'm a cheapskate, remember?
Yeah. No, we've heard that, but you know, we didn't want to believe it, but we heard that.
I am. So one of the major reasons for which I started to do my own batteries, because it was just like $83. I think right now they're about $83 a piece at Thunder Power,
Wow.
and they go bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So
let me,
yeah, I said that I'm gonna make my own. So I did my homework, and right now I know exactly what to buy, how to do it, and stuff like that. So, and
I got a
Figure out
question,
how to do this.
right? I got a question on this tandem twin that I'm drawing up. I'm planning on using the same motors that Bob Hunt is using. I think they're 2310s or 2315s, one of the two. And I'm trying to figure out what battery I should use. And I checked with Badass, and the biggest thing they've got is about a 3S at about 3600 milliamps.
what's the kV of the motors?
Uh, they're right about 1,000. That's
1000
about the
kV.
lowest they
That's a
go.
3S. Sounds like a 3S.
Yeah,
Okay, so let me see. 12, okay, divided by 7 and divided by 3. Yep. Yeah, 3S 1080. It's about in a 3S range.
yeah.
If it's bigger than that, it's good to go. So probably you want a 3S setup on it. The question is how much power is that thing is gonna eat?
Yeah, because I'm going to run both motors off of one battery.
I know. So you have a high, yeah, it's gonna be pretty hot. The system is gonna be pretty hot because the lower the voltage, the higher the amps go.
Right.
And the higher the amps, you have more heat. The motor sounds to be small. That's going to heat up. So you're going to heat up. We have a lot of lost energy over there.
I remember, and I may be wrong on this, but I seem to remember Bob talking about it he uses the same motors in his latest twin, that little one. And he was saying something about, he refilled the battery after the flight, and I think it was like 2,100 is what he put back in.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Then do whatever Bob did, and you should be fine then.
That's what I'm going to try to do.
But there might be a caveat to that because I think your motors are in tandem, right?
Yeah.
While his are side by side. So if you're looking at the disc area of the propeller, might be a little bit more efficient side by side than front to back.
I thought of that.
To beat up through the turbulence from the other one.
I've thought of that, and you're probably right on that. The only advantage I can think is canceling out any torques would be likely to happen. One going one way and one going the other way, right in line with each other.
Mm-hmm.
It might act more like it had if it was a single motor, it had a large four blade prop on it. It might be something that would be similar to. I don't know. We'll find out.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, there's only one way to find out.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
It's like we lost to Philip and gained to Denny.
We did gain it, didn't we?
Hello, Rio.
Where you been?
Man, I haven't I've been all over the place actually, and haven't been doing any model building, so didn't have anything to say. So
Well, we don't have anything to say either.
well, it's like you're building another airplane again and finishing it up again. That one That one's kind of interesting in that, that's the one that's the foamy, right? With fully
Yeah.
sheeted wing.
Yeah.
Have you been able to prove to your satisfaction that, that it's, the finish weight is lighter?
No, it's not lighter.
I mean, the weight of the paint and stuff like that.
No,
Okay.
no, it's not lighter. Nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
This airplane right now is at 61.5 ounces. And so it's going to be, this will be 64, 65 ounce airplane when it's done.
Mm-hmm.
What's the square inches on it, Sparky?
It's around 700.
That's plenty. That's not overweight.
That's a great weight for the plane. Why are you complaining about it?
Because when the wind blows, it pulls you off balance.
What you got to do is just instead of
Walk
when you go
into
to
the plane.
McDonald's, just supersize it. All right, supersize me. That's all.
Bulk up.
Would do like Gilbert does, walk toward the same direction of the wind.
Yeah, walk into the plane. Yeah.
Mm.
Don't like heavy airplanes.
Well, nobody likes them when they're real heavy, but I don't think that one's going to be what you'd call
It's
a
not
heavy.
heavy.
It's all in the eyes of the beholder. There's a lot of people who would absolutely love to have a 700 square inch, 65 ounce airplane. And
Oh man, yes.
What's the root cord, the tip cord and span on that, Sparky?
60-inch span. I'll get you the root and tip in a minute here.
no, it's got to be about a 12-inch average cord.
Yeah, I'd say so.
You guys
That would be
figured it out for
720.
me once.
Way too much math going on here.
Yeah.
And you're doing it in your head. That's the scary part. I haven't seen anybody counting on their fingers or anything.
Well,
Times tables.
I got my shoes off.
Remember times tables?
Yeah, I'm old enough that we did those.
Yeah, times table. I don't think they do that
Flashcards.
anymore. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
60-inch wingspan, the mean root aerodynamic chord, approximately.
No, just the root and the tip.
Root is 11 inches
Plus the flaps. You have to include the flaps. Sparky.
without the flaps and 8 inches at the tip.
Well, you need the flaps in there to figure that.
Well, the root at the is
That sounds like a
13 and a
14.
half, 13 and a half with the flap, and tip is 10 inches with the flap.
23.5 divided by 2 is
705 square inches.
That's what I said, 700 inches.
Mm-hmm.
That's 64 ounces on the size, the plane size. Dude, come on, that's great.
that's good.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Well, we're talking to Sparky here. It's anything over about 52 is too much. So
Well,
I
my
mean,
Viper,
that's where the
my
Beamers are, isn't it? They're in the low 50s, aren't they?
55, 54, 55.
64 is great, man, for that size plane. Come on.
Mhm. Yeah.
Stop, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a PA?
Yeah, PA Super Tiger.
Look at that look. What?
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 Super
Sparky
Tiger
is using
PA,
a Super
all right.
Tiger? Nah.
Super PA.
Nah. Sparky was Super Tigers. Never heard of it.
It says on the nose, Super Tigre BG 60. That's the printing on the nose.
It's not PG-13?
No, BG 60.
Brian Gardner.
I don't know, man. I think it's going to be just fine, but what
Sparky,
can I
if you
say?
don't like it, I'll take it, man, from you.
Yeah, we'll see how it flies.
Watch this one guy on YouTube all the time, and he says it'll be all right. I forget.
That's not what I say.
What do you say?
It'll be fine.
Fine. I thought you said it'll be all right.
It'll be fine. Yeah.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Maybe that is what you said.
Question for Sparky.
Yeah.
So that mold you showed of your prop, what was the base prop that you used to make that mold?
Hand carved.
Oh, hand carved.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a Sparky special.
Yeah. I got a 4-blade prop too. I was gonna run it on my Thunderbolt, but I gave up that project. So that I got the mold, but no need for props.
Well, put it on that. It won't, the prop won't know it's not a Thunderbolt. So,
Yeah, the prop knows that it's heavier than a wood prop.
yeah.
It all depends how you make it.
Well,
Yeah.
4 blades. I mean,
There ain't no way you could make a carbon fiber prop. This is a 1/2 ounce propeller, unless you make it a Falcon prop, and then it won't stay together because it's for electric.
mm,
You can still achieve some nice structure integrity with not a hollow molded prop.
Boom,
Pretty light too.
boom, inner.
Denny, you building anything special for next season?
yeah, anything. No.
Anything, huh?
I'm trying to finish up an airplane for VSC right now, actually. It's about
What
18
airplane is it?
It's a Hawker Typhoon. It's a reproduction of the airplane I won the Nats with in 1969.
Oh,
So,
cool.
and I've been hemming and hawing about how I wanted to finish it for a long time. So I just finally got started. I think I finally reached a decision, and I'm going to close my eyes and go forward and not think about it, not overthink it anymore. Haha.
Who does that?
Yeah.
Nobody. I never do that.
Just don't paint it silver.
So, but
I'm
yeah,
always
that's
accused
the
of
number one. I had originally hoped I'd have the thing ready. I wanted to have it flying before the snow flew. I wanted to get it at least, fun, basic trim before the weather hit, so I could
Too late
take
at
it to
my house. It
VSC.
already flew.
Yeah, last year I test flew my VSC airplane in January. It was we had a nice weekend, and I was able to get it out, and I was able to get really, really basic, trim and get a handle setting on the hard point handle and stuff like that. So that all felt good. And I went to VSC with, I think, 4 flights on the airplane, and then got there a couple of days early and just flew the snot out of it. Did the,
That's almost cheating. You're supposed to show up with an airplane you haven't finished yet.
it's only cheating if you get caught. So, or the other point of view, if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Say that with your Red Bull F1 hat on.
What was that guy's name? The piano player that had the Stuka Stunt Blues?
Oh yeah, I know who you mean. I can't think of his, Tony.
Tony Lang.
Yeah,
Tony Lang. What a character.
yeah.
Man. He played piano bar, didn't he? And so he had all these one-liners and jokes and everything, that he did in his act. I went to the SIG meet. This was back in the 80s. Went to the SIG meet and he was there. And I'm unloading my car, and he walks up to me. He's a big guy, not tall, but big guy. And he walks up and says, "Hi, how you doing?" I said, "I'm doing fine." He says, "I was doing okay until I lost all my money." He hooked me right there and reeled me in. I said, "Lost all your money? What the heck happened?" He said, "Well," he says, I loaned $10,000 to a friend of mine for plastic surgery, and now I don't know what he looks like." That was Tony Lang.
That's special.
Yeah. Came back from the Friday night, I think it was, for the contest. We've been into Montezuma and had pizza. There 4 or 5 of us in the car. We pull in down there, and you got to drive across a little causeway across the ditch there to get over to the airfield, the SIG airfield there in Montezuma. And I look and I see this light go zing over and it comes out and goes the other way and comes out. He's doing a reverse wing over, pitch dark, no moon, nothing. You couldn't see nothing. It was black. And you just see he had one of those light sticks taped to the wingtip, or the wing tips, because he had it on the inboard and the outboard. And he was flying that sucker over. He said, "Man, this is the easiest pattern I ever flew. The light traces, you know, on your retina, it just, he was doing perfect squares and that." And so he said, "Well, what do you want me to?" He did the pattern. He said, "What do you want me to do next?" I said, "Do a triangle with the point down." "All right." You know, no, he flew that sucker in, and when it ran out of fuel, he landed that thing. I don't know how he did, but you know, there were some other crazier guys there. They were flying carrier, and they had little lights on the carrier deck so that they could see the deck where the deck was, but they couldn't see the angle of their airplane. You know, and when it would bring it in slow speed, so they had one of those light sticks taped to the side of the fuselage right on the datum line, and another one tied with a string so it just hung down. So when they got in that hovering mode, they could judge the angle by the angle between the one that was taped and the one that was hanging. And they're flying, doing carrier in that pitch dark that night. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
Yeah,
They do
first
that kind of
Brodac I
shit
went
at
to.
Joe now.
Do they?
Yeah.
First Brodac I went to, they were flying at after dark, light sticks, and they had a couple on the ground so you could so they could see the you know, where the ground was and stuff like that. And there one guy's flying Bob Zambelli's Cardinal with the 4-stroke motor on it. Nice flying airplane. And he said that about halfway through the flight, he felt something in the airplane. Also, it wasn't flying right. He thought something might have come loose or something. So they're looking it over. Found out he had hit a bat and it was draped over the stab. So
Oh my goodness.
poor bat never knew what hit it. And of course,
Vampire killer.
Krampus, it didn't actually damage anything, but even a light little bat hanging off the stab was enough to kind of throw the CG off. So
Yeah, we could call him Vampire Killer from here on out, can't we?
yeah.
Okay.
Uh-oh, somebody shared something.
That's
Oh.
my 1969 Typhoon. That's
Oh,
what
that's
I'm trying to
shiny.
duplicate. Yeah.
Does that airplane still exist, or is it?
It does. We donated it to, it's in a school in Ontario right now. A Montessori school in Ontario.
Ontario, Canada, or California?
Ontario, Canada. You know, the other Ontario. So
Sure.
Stuart would know that one, but
Who's that little guy holding that airplane?
that's it. But that was one of the things I did on it. That's what I was, you know, obsessing over. But I'm gonna try to recreate the target toe paint job and all that kind of stuff, and we'll go from there.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, it's a neat look.
Actually, it actually was. You know, of course, everybody called it a
C-40.
hurricane. You know,
Yeah.
if it, you know, if British airplanes, if it's a round wing, it's a Spitfire. If it's a straight wing, it's a Hurricane, and that's, you know, that's. If it has more than one motor, it's a Lancaster. So.
Yep.
Steve, was it you that sent me that Hurricane plan from the Italian magazine? No, I forget who it was, but this is a Italian design Hurricane stunner, and I swear you could enter it into a scale contest, and it is the most scale looking Hurricane I have ever seen flying stunt. If I can find it, I'll show it to you if you want.
Oh, sure, if you can find it. Always semi-scale airplanes are neat to look at, I think. So
What motor was in your airplane, Denny?
McCoy 40.
Oh, are you going to go back to the oily side for this new one?
That other one was built in 1969. So no. When I put my greasy stuff aside. This one will be decidedly not McCoy. So
Sacrilegious.
Guilty as charged. You'll get over it, Sparky. I already have.
Yeah. I don't
Can I
care.
share something with you guys? I brought here the project that my some of my students are working on. This is like a
I like that shirt.
10 12-year-old kid that's building this right now. So
Okay, hold on. Let me
Sharing
stop.
or there we go. Highlighting, featuring.
yep. Give me a second. Yeah, in a second. So
Well, now we're getting a full screen view of your chair. Oh, there we go.
this is a wing that he's working on.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
As you can see, like we have some of the I-beam construction techniques
That's a
Right.
sailplane wing, isn't it?
because we are cutting our own ribs. I teach them how to put the tape on, so when they sand off the
Yep.
backside here,
Yeah.
right? So they don't cut through the ribs, which are kind of fragile, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they put them on a flat table like this, in this orientation on top of the table, and just sand it off, right? To blend it in. So this is the wing. Here's the wingtips. It's going to be a glider.
Polyhedral wing, gotta be a
Yes.
glider, yes.
Yep. So the wing is going to go like this here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's gonna be gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Uh,
Is it rubber powered?
no, just free flight. It's glider, right?
Just
And
rubber, what I meant by rubber powered was
Yeah.
Tailplane.
surgical tubing, high start.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That's beautiful. He's doing good work.
Mm-hmm.
You're teaching him well there, Trent.
I hope so. I kind of did help them a lot on this kit because I actually made it a kit. I did some work for them, but they cut their own ribs. They do a lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, that's gonna be great. What's the fuselage gonna look like on that?
Fuselage, I was just thinking like a simple carbon tube with a 3 degrees riser on it, another stick on top of it, and a airfoil, right?
Yeah,
So you can go and just put a rubber band around it.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just rubber band the wing to the top of the platform.
Simple and
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah, it works great.
That's a good
So,
project for somebody starting out.
yep. And I'm thinking making the fuselage, depending on how long is it gonna be. For this one, I think I'm gonna use a 1/8 inch balsa stick and basswood on the outside, so it's like a sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Basswood, balsa.
That's it on the outsides of both sides of the boom.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And then and after that, just we'll sand it off and have a nice stiff boom that it's also fairly light, right?
Yeah.
And balance it up. Yeah. We can launch it either with a rubber band with a bungee rubber band thing, or you can just tow it.
Yeah.
You can simply tow it with nothing, just like a kite.
Right.
Pull it up,
Well,
So
that's a good project. How many kids you got working in that?
I have 5 advanced and about 15 beginners,
Good on you.
something like that. Yeah.
Good on you, Tran.
Yeah, the beginners are making like a cardboard plane, but the fuselage is a little bit more complex because it has several parts to it to make it so the cardboard plane is gonna. Actually, I can show it to you. Give me a second. I can come back and show you.
Heard that.
Anyhow. So John, it looked like you were showing off your centerline thrust airplane a little bit ago.
I did, yes. What do you think of it?
I don't know. I think centerline thrust is an interesting concept. Hasn't been tried enough. Hasn't really been explored, or whatever. So
Well, yeah, well, the problem until we got electrics, it was almost impossible to get decent engine runs.
yeah. Well, there's certainly always been that and everything like that, and you know, it's always a challenge in getting a CG and stuff. But again, with electric, you get a little more control over things like CG with
Yeah,
relatively light motors and relatively heavy fuel tanks, if you will, that you can move all over to get them to balance right. So
yeah. Well, I'm using the smallest motor that Badass makes,
mhm,
the 2310. It's either 2310 or 2315. I forget right now, but it's small.
yeah.
And it's 23 millimeters in diameter.
Hmm.
So and it's about the same in length,
Hmm.
total length.
Ah, there we go. There's a
Oh,
view.
look at that.
Ah.
Typical Nordic looking airplane. Yeah.
Hmm.
So watch what we're doing with the cardboard. We just actually fold it. Can you see that?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how well it shows. It's
Fine.
folded over, and we insert it. We tape it here on the back side, making a pocket, and we insert a stick in there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's gonna give it some airfoil. It actually has a pretty nice airfoil to it, right?
Yeah.
And has a lot of resistance over there because of the stick that's inserted in this pocket in here.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And we did the same thing on the rudder. Even
Yeah. It looks good.
okay. So it's simple, right?
Yeah.
And this is the basic fuselage shape. So you have
So how did you come with the amount of incidents on the main wing on that?
it's about right. Look,
That looks about right.
yeah.
So that works more often than not.
Yeah, it worked. Actually, this plane flies very nice.
Yeah.
It's a very, very good flyer, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And here in the nose it has a big hole inside of it, and I put a bunch of BBs in there for the balancing point. And we have like a little bit of a flat surface here, which also has the airfoil built into it. So when you put the wing on, it has nice support.
Yeah.
This is for the rubber band.
Yeah.
So I grab it like this, go over the wing, rubber band it over there. It's simple,
You hand launch that or?
just simple stuff.
Yeah.
But for some of them, this is a challenge, sometimes. And I'm learning my lessons with them because some of them are just sitting there waiting for you to tell them exactly what to do every single time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm learning my lessons right now because I'm new at this, and I have to, uh, kids are, kids are kids, right?
Yeah.
So right now I want to tell them like, hey, you have to take charge of your project. And don't wait for me to come and show you because you have the sample plane here, and I have the wing with the rubber band on it and stuff like that. So just compare side by side. Hey, have I done this? Is it finished? Yes or no? If it's yes, then move to the next thing.
Yeah.
So you have to encourage them to start to think actively, right? For themselves instead of waiting for me to give them everything and tell them everything. And maybe in the future I should just build the plane in front of them because I can build one of these like in half an hour, right?
That's a good idea.
But building in front of them step by step and explain why am I doing that and justifying everything, right? So show them how I think, basically.
That's kind of dangerous.
Huh?
That's kind of dangerous, teaching somebody how you think.
Yeah. Sorry
The
about it.
wing, do you cover that on both sides, or is it just the top side covering?
No, actually, the wing is built out of the same material, and what I have,
Is that
I
a
might as well just bring the wing now.
Klein Fogelman airfoil, the way you fold that over?
I'm sorry.
Line Fogelman, it's stepped airfoil.
No, it's not.
Okay. That's an interesting airfoil there, Steve.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's gonna be hard to cover on the bottom if you use silk span.
That's why you don't use silk span.
Japanese tissue, I think you can do.
I think you do better
Probably.
with the combat Mylar.
I've done a couple of undercambered airplanes with, I just used monocoat on it. That worked really good. So,
Yay for Monaco.
yeah. And even then it took, you know, it wasn't hard to do, but it took a couple of, took a couple of false starts there to get it right. But I was actually surprised how easy it was once I got into a routine with it. So,
That's supposed to be the way to win the concourse going forward.
Yeah.
Very few of us can do a monocoat job like that one.
It was beautiful. It was great.
Yeah.
Was
Well
it
done.
mainly a base color of monocoat and then the graphics were made with paint?
It was
Decals. Decals
Oh.
and paint.
Okay.
it was a transparent purple, I think.
Blue.
Yeah.
Blue, okay. Some of the pictures it looked a little purple. So
Mhm.
Had purple on the fuselage, and
that's
all the graphics on the fuselage were decals, just like this.
Mhm.
it looked beautiful.
Yep, great job.
Most of your graphics are painted, I think, aren't they? Only your
Okay.
characters are decals.
All right,
All
there
of
we
my
go. Back to the wing there.
All of my graphics are painted.
Yeah.
So you got it folded like you did on the elevator?
No, this time I just glued the sticks on the leading edge and trailing edge.
Oh, okay.
Heat
And
molded?
We gave
Okay,
me the
wait a minute.
shape.
The one that you showed with the I-beam ribs and everything like that, is that gonna be covered on just one side or both sides, or is it get covered with the
That's gonna be
cardstock
with
or
tissue
something?
paper. This is a
Okay.
poster board.
Okay,
This is poster board, right?
okay,
That's different. This is just a different project, right?
okay.
So kind of this is what it is. We have a rubber band here. Jink like that. It's pretty basic stuff, right? There you go.
Looks good.
Look at that. It's not a canard.
I'll fly like crazy.
Oh, it flies really great.
Hmm.
Actually, this flies very good. So, yep. So that's
Ryan, how was your class assembled or created?
actually was originally was there's a international school that has classes over the weekend only, so Saturday and Sunday. And when people want to do some extracurricular activities, they bring their kids over there. And they have all kinds of stuff: music, dance, chess, piano, arts, gymnastics, all kinds of stuff.
How
Right?
old the
So,
kids are they?
huh?
How old are they?
In my class,
Yeah.
they start. I have a 6-year-old. Actually, he built this. Yeah, this is my 6-year-old building this frame.
That's the time to catch them.
And yeah, so I have a six all the way up to I think 13.
Good ages.
Yeah.
How did you get involved?
Well, you remember when I was teaching Sava how to build his Spirit of Saginaw?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, his mom works at the school over there over the weekend on Saturdays. She's teaching
Oh,
gymnastics. And she goes like one day she came to me, hey, why don't you teach our kids how to do this stuff? Because it's cool. It's nice. I said, okay, fine. You know, I didn't know what was going to come out of it, and I said, oh, let's give it a shot. So I went over there. I talked to the guy, to the guy that owns the school, and we had like a little interview over there, explaining what I would like to do, and the rest is history, right? So I got my first 6 students, and they stay with me for the rest of the year, and now they came back. And they have added more classes because I had only one class one day last time around, and now I have 5 classes and 1 private.
Did you
Wow.
have to get releases from the parents so that the kids could use X-Acto knives?
No,
So what happens if they cut themselves? Who's liable?
They bleed a little bit.
Yeah.
they'll bleed
Yeah.
a little bit. They'll learn how now to how to respect it next
Well,
time.
I
Yeah, that's
understand
it.
this, but that's not how the world works today.
I know. I know. Yeah.
Well, maybe it does maybe it still does in certain areas, but
Yeah.
yeah, but
Most of the parents of these kids are coming from Europe and parts of Europe, Ukraine, from
There you
whatever,
go.
and over there they're not so happy and stuff like that. Even though you're right, Spark.
Yeah, like my dad said, if you get cut, well, you don't do that again. And you don't
Mhm.
drink the paint, you don't sniff the glue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had to actually stop them because I saw them that did something very unsafe, you know. And one of the first things that I talked to them before I even give them the blades and stuff like that, I said, look, I cannot be there and babysit you all the time. You have to be safe, and this thing is gonna bite you. And not gonna bite you a little bit, it's gonna bite you hard. So if you don't respect it,
Yeah.
mhm.
you'll get hurt, and you'll
Well,
get
you're
hurt bad.
catching the kids at the right time. 6 to 8, 10, 12, 13. That's perfect time. But in today, that's like when I learned was those eras. But in today's, I don't know what you say, the culture or whatever.
Yes.
First, you got a 40-year-old guy with 6-year-old kids. What's going on? And then you got dangerous tools. And you go, well, what? Because I won't even let kids hang around here. Hey, go. You're going to have to go away and get your dad to come back. If I'm out in the yard starting an engine and kids start gathering around, no, you got to go get your dad. I don't want to be sued for some kind of crazy shit.
Yeah. Don't blame me.
I know that's the sad part of this whole thing.
When I was a kid, I hung around guys that were 40, 50 years old when I was 6, 8, 10 years old, but we weren't into suing people or, if you got hurt, well, shit, don't be a dumbass.
You're dumb enough to do that, you deserve it. Now go to the hospital, get yourself patched up.
Yeah, that's what my dad used to say, don't do
those
that
back
again.
then. Yeah. So long story short, these are my advanced students are doing this. I'm gonna let them do another one after this project. It's gonna be a full another glider similar to this one, maybe a little bit larger, but this time we're gonna use carbon fiber tubes for the spars. We're gonna use full ribs, cover top and the bottom. I mean, it's just a full blown wing, right? And after that, I'm gonna put them on group projects. And I have a couple of group projects I want to do with them. One of them is going to be a twister. I have a twister kit here standing by, waiting for that. And I'm going to also buy a 2-meter RC glider kit, polyhedral rudder elevator spoilers, RES, something nice. And I'm going to have them build that kit too. And then when we go outside, when we go out and start to do I would like to have like weekends in which maybe set up some times and say, hey, this weekend we have no classes. We're gonna have flight time from this time to that time, something like that.
They let you fly at the school?
You have no place to fly at school.
You don't have a place?
No. However, there is one that's like within 5 minutes of driving. There's a big park nearby. just across, very close by. So we can definitely whoop up the control line plane and the gliders and the free flights over there and have a good time.
Yeah, I think that was our downfall. When I was a kid, you'd hear a model airplane start and you'd get on your bicycle and you'd ride to the school to see what was going on.
Yep.
Well, you're not allowed to fly in a school now. You're 30 miles out in the middle of nowhere in the field, and kids don't have a car to get there.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's a really cool story, Tryon. Now, do some of these kids in your class tell their friends and draw more kids in?
I think that's how it did because I have no advertising whatsoever.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I said that I'm gonna do 2 classes in the morning, 2 classes on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. And they said, well, this class is already full, you want to start another class? I say, yeah, sure.
That's really cool.
You're fortunate that you have children of immigrants. Mom and dad are concerned about them learning stuff, and they're backing you.
Yep. And Sava still flies his plane. The Saginaw we built together.
How's that flying for him?
Right.
Good.
Yeah. I think we need to deal with some torsion in the flaps somewhere. Because we have a bias in the way they are. Yeah, we have to deal with that, and after that, I think it's going to be even better.
Good. Well, it sure was a nice looking design. It looked about right.
All it takes.
Yeah, I guess that would be would that be a classic legal?
It is classic legal.
Not, I don't think the Spirit of Saginaw is. It's certainly super 70s, but I don't think it's early
You may be right, but
1970s.
I thought it was classic legal. I thought he did that back in the 60s.
No, it wasn't that long. Dick Piscini is on the forum. You could ask him for sure, but I'm pretty sure it was in early 1970s.
Okay.
It was from Saginaw, Michigan area when north of Detroit.
He was a police officer.
Yeah. Yeah, that plate done really nice. It was beautiful when we were done with it. We stole some of the paint lines from a T-20. Was it the T-20 Tiger?
Right.
The jet plane.
Yeah. Well, it kind of looks like that P-20 Tiger, doesn't it?
Yeah. That's why we got inspired by that, because I said, like, hey, it's a jet-ish looking plane. Let's see how some cool jets out there, what kind of a paint job they have. So we almost kind of copy it and try to put it on this plane.
Dick Piscini, the designer, he's a heck of a nice guy.
Yeah.
I called him and let him know I was redrawing that for Brodak and got his permission, and he almost made it back into control line. It looked like he was going to, and then all of a sudden he changed his mind. He's been selling his stuff off again. Might be like me, can't do anything overhead without falling down.
Well, that's too bad. Yeah. Too bad.
Nice guy though, really nice guy.
Yeah.
I have a question for Tryon. Is this the same paint job I normally do?
That one?
Yeah.
When you're playing the one you're building right now?
Yeah.
That is very SV11-ish.
Yes.
This is screaming SV11 to me, the Broda kid.
Yeah,
but it's beautiful. I like it. It's cool.
It's not an SV.
It's SV11-ish.
I don't know. I saw the sunburst. I thought it was a Pathfinder. Oh.
Yeah,
how's that, John? Cha-ching!
Cha-ching! Oh my goodness.
Steve, I think it was on Monday night, you were talking about a study that someone did on different batteries, comparing the different brands.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I can send you the link. It's a
and well, what I'm curious about, I'd love to read it, but I'm also curious as to whether or not Denny is aware of that study.
I am now. It's first I've heard of it. So
It's a guy who's been buying batteries since 2012 and testing them all, and then he just publishes the results online.
Yeah, I heard of that. You know, I
Still
even
on
saw
YouTube?
some of it because he said everybody that's claiming whatever they're claiming about the batteries, they're all bullshit.
Yeah. Is he the guy on YouTube, isn't it?
It's I found this is a thread I've been reading on RC groups.
Oh, okay.
Is it Project Farm?
Nope. This is a model guy. It's not.
yeah.
Let's see here. Chat to everyone.
I'd like to see Project Farm test batteries.
There's a link to the thread I just sent everybody.
Okay. Oh, it is interesting. There was something I got, I think it was from an RC group. I'm not sure exactly what the source of it was, but basically it was a list where all of the Outrunner motors were being made. There was like 2 or 3 factories in the world that was making all of the motors, all the different brands and everything like that. And come right down to it, it's a pretty specialized piece of, piece of equipment, and you don't just, set it up or anything like that. And, and of course, with mass production, prices go down and everything like that. I would expect it to be the same for batteries. Is it, you don't just go out and say, well, I'm going to set up a battery factory. I think they probably come out of pretty much the same place. I think Thunder Tiger claimed that they matched their cells into packs and did it better than other people. I don't know. But
Thunder
I think
Power.
Thunder Power, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I would
Yeah,
have
they all
thought that
claim
they would have
all
been
kinds of
good at,
stuff.
at things like, let's see,
Ironically,
one of my recent electric flying buddies here had some issues with Thunder Power batteries and bad solder joints, which I hadn't heard of before. And
if you read that test that's been a theme for a while, is they test poorly, especially relative to their price.
Mhm.
Thunder Power does. I haven't owned any, so I can't tell you. I've had problems with them, but
They're $100 a piece, or they were.
Max Amps is another kind of a quote premium brand. I don't know if they're popular with the Control Line group, but they're pretty expensive RC batteries, and they don't test very well either, according to this guy.
I had 4 dead Thunder Power batteries. All my batteries. Like 3 weeks before the World Championship, I was flying my plane. I put them all on storage charge. I go to the Worlds. I pull them out. I put them on a charger. All dead, destroyed, absolutely gone. And I have not done nothing to them other than store them and just put them on storage charge when I got home and stuff them in a pouches. And I charge them at 4.15 volts because I don't need the full charge on them at any time. And I'm using about 16 amps average per flight. So I'm not pushing them at all. And they were all KIA.
Yeah, what happened that night, Tryon? You came on the show and talked about dead batteries, and you were leaving the next day for Romania.
Yes, this is the second time that happened to me. The same thing.
Oh, it happened. It happened.
I didn't
again.
realize this, so it's happened
Second
twice.
time.
Oh,
Wow.
because the first time it happened, you came on the show, talked about it.
I drove all the way to
and
you.
said, Mike, can I borrow some batteries? And he drove from Atlanta to Nashville. He was on the show, drove here, was on. Tryon has the distinguishing award for being on the show twice in the same night in 2 different states in 2 different cities. He left the show, drove to my shop, came to my shop, got his batteries, said hi, and then turned around and drove back home. So you had another set.
Yes.
Oh my God. I'm still on. So the set you replaced, I'm still using and they're good. And then I bought 4 more and they're still good.
Hey, more power to you, man. I wish
So
you the
Tryon,
best of luck with them.
your problem wasn't the connectors. The batteries were actually dead.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I put the batteries back on charge. Some of cells were dead completely, and all the packs with alarm out would not even start charging.
Okay.
They were gone.
Yeah, well, John's been having trouble with connectors. So bad
Yeah,
solder
I've
joints.
got 5 that have been sent back, and they said they're going to change the connectors on them and send them back to me. They said they have 2 types of Dean's connectors, and they're going to switch
Yeah.
these batteries over to the other type.
I have started
What?
since my
Yeah.
amperage
Well,
is
that's
so
the
low.
story. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I've seen the red Deans, and then they got a white Deans that's higher temp plastic, but it's still the same.
Yeah, but Steve,
mechanism.
listen to this though. I had a couple of these went bad, and so it was such that if I tried to charge them, it would say connection break,
Yep.
and eventually I experimented with one of them, and I bought some new Dean's connectors on Amazon, and I soldered those on instead of the ones the connectors that were on the battery, and it started working, and I'm still using it.
That connector.
No, that was not the case on mine. I was just like the
Yeah.
battery got puffed out, and just something nasty happened to them.
Definitely went bad.
Yeah, they definitely did go bad. And 3 weeks before that, I just fly them just fine.
Hmm.
It's
Something.
just weird. It just you put them on storage charge, you put them in a safe spot, you don't touch them since, then you go to a different place, you start to charge them, gone.
What voltage? What storage voltage were you using? Just out of curiosity.
3.85, which is the normal voltage,
Yeah,
storage voltage.
Not anything wacky.
John,
Oh,
what
yeah,
charger?
exactly.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tryon.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to ask John, what charger are you using when these batteries were showing up connection break? What brand?
I'll show you.
You don't have to show me. Just tell me. Is it a Thunder Power? Is it a
Not a Thunder Power. I would tell you if I remembered, but
okay?
it's a I don't know. CQ3 4X 100 watt.
Okay.
And it's worked perfectly with the Vant batteries from Brodak. And it actually worked with the Thunder Power battery too when I switched the connector.
Okay. Well, the only reason I ask is I use the Thunder Power 4-port, and sometimes if I don't have the right cells of battery in there, or I'm trying to balance charge something and the balance board isn't plugged in, I will get that you'll get the connection break error.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not on if you're trying to charge a 6S and you're on a 4S battery, it'll say connection break and go blue, 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 blue. Same thing as if you're trying to balance charge something and you don't have the balance board plugged in. The Thunder Power charger, anyway, will say connection break if you're not lined up down the menu. So that's why I was asking.
No, that's valid. And I double and triple and quadruple checked all of that.
Okay. All right.
It wasn't that.
You guys were talking about name brands of batteries. I don't know if any of you guys have tried any HRBs at all. HRB. I'd show you the big label, but that's got the Velcro on it. Because that's how I had to put it in for Sam's big RC plane. So the wires were on that side. Anyway, these HRBs, I started buying these for Sam flying 3D RC. And we've got a bunch of 4-cell 2800s that we run on some of his foamies. But these are 6-cell 5000s that he's running on a 70-inch airplane. And I'll tell you what, he's got about 50 flights on 4 batteries already, and they've been really good. They've been really good. I have not used them on control line. We only use them on RC, but he's doing like 6-minute, 6.5-minute flights, and only using like 3/4 of the battery. We're coming down, below storage charge, but still with 1,000-1,500 milliamps in the battery. Not going way deep in them, but they've been really good, and they're economical too. They're definitely cheaper than China Hobby Online. Have you used CHNL, China Hobby Online batteries? Anybody?
No.
No.
Is the 50C packs, Mike?
This one, no, this is 100C pack actually, because this is on, like I said, this is on like a almost 70-inch 3D RC plane, running a 120 amp ESC with a big fat electric motor. Man, it draws a lot of amps. But they're definitely, this comparable battery on Thunder Power would be a $200 battery.
Yeah.
And these end up being about 115 a piece. And so far we've had pretty good luck with them.
Yeah. Here's the future of the batteries in my plane.
Oh, okay.
18650s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Molly cell.
Yeah.
This the 35 amps continuous.
Smoker battery. Same
yep.
thing. Same thing that's in this.
Yep. Yeah. This is 6S 2800 milliamps and 35 amps continuous, and I make them myself. They are lighter than the Thunder Powers. This weight 290 grams. The Thunder Powers 360, I think.
Hey guys, let me close out the YouTube side. You can have your after party. I really appreciate you guys watching on YouTube. You don't, if you want to join this after party, you have to go on Stunt Hangar and at the bench and come on in. Dennis will be our host. And I really appreciate you guys watching. Let me get back to the other screen and close this out. Oh, so far away. Okay, back here, and I gotta go to there. Content. And we go here. Alrighty, fair winds, tight lines. We'll see you.
And
Yeah, I just got one more thing to throw at you real quick. I talked about, this is China Hobby Line.